Hey there, Mr. Reddit here. Welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled Parents Stories. Today we have a very special episode for you, a compilation of some of the greatest entitled parent stories we read over the past year. So sit back, relax, and enjoy a few hours of the most entitled parents you've ever heard of. And by the way, Karen assured me that if this video gets 1,000 likes, she won't try to speak to anyone's manager for an entire week. So please smash that like button. And if you're new, subscribe and turn on notifications for new stories from Reddit every single day. And become an official member of the Re-Army today, and I'll give you a shout out in an upcoming video. r/Entitled Parents. Karen tries to get me fired from my amusement park. I worked at an amusement park at this time. We got snooty parents and kids, etc. all the time. Figured I'd start sharing some stories. This is technically a repost, but it got taken down, so I'm putting it here. Hopefully it'll stay up this time. Third time's a charm, am I right? So here I am, kind of dreading coming into work at this point, because I know I have about 3 days left of working as a ride operator. From there, I would go to work at the National Archives, or the Smithsonian. I think I had decided on National Archives at this point, but I honestly don't remember. This becomes relevant later. So, I'm working at my favorite ride in the park. It's called the Music Express. If you know the ride that spins in a circle, goes up and down a little, goes backwards sometimes, it's that. They're everywhere. Ours, in this case, has a seatbelt and a latch bar. I'm working there with someone, which is unusual, as we were understaffed in that section due to a promotional event we were doing. We load up everyone, and when I got back down to the entrance zone after double-checking my partner's work, and him mine, we really care about safety. You were fired for not being up to standard on safety. I get someone who we'll call Karen. She asks me to come over to her and asks me to look at her daughter's arm, who's about 5 or so. The exchange goes as follows. We've got me, Karen, and Karen's daughter. Me. What am I supposed to be looking at? Karen. What do you mean, what are you supposed to be looking at? Look at her arm. Me. I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm not entirely sure what I'm supposed to be looking at here. You hurt her arm. Me, honestly confused. Do you mind showing me where? Show him your elbow. Karen's daughter points to the inside of her elbow. I now realize exactly where this is going. This is going to be an entitled mom trying to get something because her baby is hurt. It continues. Me, figuring out what's on her arm. Are you okay? Is there anything I can get you? Is she okay? She's been screaming at you for the past 5 minutes, and other people have been trying to get your attention. I want you to get her ice at the very least. Me, knowing this is all wrong. I don't have ice here, but I can direct you to first aid. Karen cuts me off. No, we're on the ride. We want to ride it, and she needs ice now. Me, as I said, I can direct you to first aid. Fine, we'll do it your way. We'll go to first aid, but we're not riding. She said this like it was some sort of threat. Saying I'm not riding as a threat isn't new to me anymore. I'm used to it. But I do also want to add a quick addendum that once we check all the seats, we can't leave the ride area due to safety concerns I won't get into. New addition, FCW is friendly coworker. Me. That's fine. I can't go with you to first aid though. What? Why? It's a safety concern because I'm a 9-year season pass holder and I know you can come with me. Me. Having finally gotten them out of their cars, like I said before, I can't. Haven't you heard the customer is always right? You're coming with me. Me. I can't. However, if you follow a certain path, you can reach first aid. Karen gets to the entrance and sees guest service flag. Why can't you have excellent guest service like the person who got that? You're terrible at your job. I'm a 9-year season pass holder and work for the state. I'm going to have you fired. Me. Actually, I earned that flag. I also have, pointing to something on my shirt, this because I'm one of the best operators in the park. No, you're not. Get me some ice from that booth and we'll be on our way. Me. I'm sorry. As I've said before, there's no ice in the booth. Karen. Friendly coworker. Get my daughter some ice from the booth. Friendly coworker. I can't. We don't have ice in the booth. Karen, stomping towards the booth. I'm getting you both fired. I'm a 9-year season pass holder and work for the state. Me. At this point, fed up with these antics she puts on for the past 15 minutes. So you outrank me because you work for the state and I work for an amusement park? Yes. Me. In about 2 weeks, I'll be working for the national government in DC, which means, per your own standards, I outrank you. Karen, fuming with anger. Get me a pen and a sheet of paper. I'm writing down both of your names and having you fired. Me grabs a sheet of paper and pulls the pin off my visor that I always have with me. My name is Average Dude 1990. Karen pushes down on the pen so hard that the top of the ballpoint pen pops off and the ink with it. Mighty convenient, isn't that? Get me another pen. She whips the pen at me, which I dodge. Friendly coworker hands her another pen. My name is Friendly Coworker. Karen. How do I know your name is Average Dude? Keep in mind, by this point, she had checked my ID on 2 separate occasions before this, and I have a name tag that clearly displays my name on my chest. At this point, my memory gets fuzzy as I was completely caught off guard from Karen harassing me for a solid 20 minutes. She eventually leaves, and I try my best to going back to being my usually cheery operator self. You know, the one that has multiple awards from the park and one from a training company, as well as having been videotaped for random screening of the park to then be later used as a model for how to be a good operator. When my supervisor comes over and tells me I need to see the head of ride operations, HRO, Karen had apparently accused me of assault, being an overall rude and arrogant jerk, as well as being rude to other guests, as well as friendly coworker. Head of ride operations asks for my side of the story. I say that I was working at the Music Express with friendly coworker when she stops me. HRO. Wait, you don't mean other ride? Me. What? Is that what she said? Just asking. Me. Well, neither me or friendly coworker are trained at the other ride, and only one person can be operating it at a time. HRO. Well, she did say that ride. Me, laughing at the stupidity of it and relief. No, as I said, that would not be possible. That's basically how the conversation went, and friendly coworker confirmed everything I said. We were both sent home for the day, with pay, to make sure she wouldn't try to start anything more. The next day I come in to find out that multiple people on the ride and in line at the Music Express had reported her for berating me and just wanted to make sure I wouldn't be fired. Because of the statements of those people, combined with mine and friendly coworkers' written accounts of what had happened, she had her season pass revoked and was banned from the park for the rest of the year. A satisfying ending if you ask me. Thanks for reading this. I know it's long, but I just discovered this subreddit and this felt too good to not share. What is your favorite amusement park? Please leave a comment letting me know. Next we've got, I don't work here and keep your hands off me. So when I go shopping, I always have headphones in and am either on the phone with my girlfriend about groceries or listening to music. This time I was listening to a podcast. Not important, but if you must know, it's the Misfits podcast. Something about myself is that I am 5'11" to 6 foot, so I usually get asked to help people get things off the shelf. I actually had once joked about having a hat that says, "Yes, I can help you get that off the top shelf." Well, today as I am going through the store doing my thing, I get stopped and asked by these ladies, one in her late 40s, the other very much older, I assume mother and daughter, to grab these very large water jugs that were, for some reason, on the top shelf. Without hesitation, I get them. They thank me and then ask if I know about something else to be in stock, and I told them that I'm sorry, but I don't work here. I wear nothing but black almost every day of my life, and that just so happens to be the uniform here, so I don't ever get upset when I get confused for an employee. They apologize, and I go back to my cart. I could feel the presence behind me as I began to walk away. That eerie feeling, then that ominous noise of the throat clear, and I knew I had a Karen behind me. I turn around thinking she was wanting me to get something from the top shelf. "Hi, did you need me to get something from the upper shelf?" I say with my customer service smile. She smacks her lips and rolls her eyes. "Ugh, no. I want you to go in the back for me and get me some more of these." She then holds up some cake mix box. "I'm sorry, ma'am. I don't actually work here." "Don't lie to me. You're in uniform and just helped them. The least you can do is help me get some cake for my church sale." I think to myself, this really can't be real. "I'm sorry, ma'am, but I really don't work here. I just understand that I'm tall and I can reach the top shelf." I turn my body around, but still have my face turned towards her as I go to finish speaking. "Have a good day." I then began to walk off. "Hey, don't you walk away from me." She grabs my arm and pulls me towards her. "You show respect to your elders," she says as she's still gripping my arm. Something about me is that I have very little tolerance for people grabbing at me without my permission. "Ma'am, I'd advise letting me go," I say to her, my smile gone, and the lifeless cold look I give when I'm angry. She looks disgusted at me and raises her other hand, which looks like she's going to sock me. "Don't talk to—" I cut her off. "I said let go." She looked ghost-white and backed away. "I do not work here, but I do believe the gentleman behind you does and can help you. Don't ever touch me again." And I began to go forward once more. I hear her scream at me that she's going to tell my manager, who is passing by to talk to the guy I had pointed out, and looks at me. "Sir, do you work here? I don't recognize you." I put on my smile again. "No, ma'am, I don't work here, but I can understand why you think that." And I began walking to the checkout. She just went to the horrid woman behind me who is screaming about me being fired and tries to calm her down. I check out and head to my car, and I notice a man about the same age as her, just relaxing and having a cigarette, letting out a long sigh. "Long day, bud?" "No, not really, but some guy just upset my wife, and I'm glad that I don't have to go in to try and thank him for that long car ride home," he said with a smile and an obvious sarcastic tone. I chuckle a bit, but when I turn away, I make the obvious face and a wide-eyed look. Have you ever been mistaken for an employee? Please leave a comment letting me know. Next we've got Mess with the Marching Band? March yourself home. I went to a very large secondary school, middle plus high school in the United States, with a population of over 4,000 students. Because of the school's size and excellent funding, the marching band had its own percussion equipment, wheeled carts, and golf carts to pull them, which were stored in cargo containers in the back parking lot by some classroom trailers. I was on the equipment crew for the marching band, and by the time my senior year rolled around, the containers were about 30 years old and one had started leaking. The band director, let's call him Mr. Connex, finally was able to get them replaced after begging the administration for several years. The new ones would be arriving on a Friday, and a different company would be hauling away the old ones on Wednesday of the next week. So for a few days, the old containers were going to be taking up a section of the parking lot. This wasn't a problem because the night before, after rehearsal, Mr. Connex had us measure out an extensively large section of the back parking lot and cone it off, so the crew would have plenty of room to work the next day. We filled up the band hall with all the equipment and had the containers empty so the crew could move them, put the new ones in their place with minimal effort the next day. This is the part I only heard about because I was in class when it happened. The assistant band director was running the band classes for the first part of the day, and Mr. Connex was outside making sure everything would be just so, when all of a sudden a lady drives up, narrowly threads the gap between two cones, and parks right in the middle of where the old containers are going to be stored until next week. Let's call her Mrs. Seacon. Mrs. Seacon had an important meeting with her daughter's guidance counselor. Mr. Connex walks over and politely informs her that she will need to park somewhere else because the forklift crew would be arriving soon, and in return she went off on him, complaining that because they had coned off so much of the back parking lot, the nearest parking was off campus and she'd need to walk about a quarter mile to get to the main building from there. Mr. Connex told her one more time that she was parked in the middle of the space that the workmen needed, and she told him in no uncertain terms to buzz off before heading around towards the front of the building. At this point, Mr. Connex called the principal, Dr. Intermodal, and informed him of the situation. Unfortunately, with the number of buildings on campus and how many guidance counselors there are in a school with over 4,000 students, it would take the better part of an hour to actually figure out where on the campus she had gone and which guidance counselor she was meeting. Our school had over 20. The school resource officer could probably write them a ticket, but that was about all he could do. Calling a tow truck would probably be faster, but even then, it would take about 30 minutes at least to get the car out of the way, and the work crew would be arriving in 10, and any delay would be an unexpected expense for the school. Then Mr. Connex had an idea. He ran it by Dr. Intermodal, and the principal ratified it, so he set his plan into motion. When the work crew arrived, several semi-trucks, carrying the newer containers and a forklift, Mr. Connex gave them very specific instructions for how to arrange the old containers when they moved them out of the way for the other company to pick up. A perfect box around Mrs. Seacon's car, with barely enough room for a person to step through between the corners. Her SUV was going to spend hard time in car jail until Wednesday. Then the new containers were unloaded where the old ones had been and the work crew left. About an hour later was my band class period, and since being in marching band was a requirement for the symphonic band, everyone in the room was part of the band, so everyone got conscripted to move the equipment back out into the new containers. Some of us noticed the car in the middle of the old containers, but nobody had a chance to ask the director about it, until about halfway through the process when Mrs. Seacon returned and shouted these legendary words, which I shall never forget until the day I die. "What the heck? Where is my car?" I can only imagine the sheer terror she felt upon rounding the corner and finding the place where she had parked her car replaced with a giant steel box. To this, Mr. Connex simply, calmly responded, "Exactly where I told you not to park it." At this point, literally everyone had stopped working, and the few of us who had noticed the trapped car surmised what had happened and were basically dying of laughter. Mrs. Seacon ran over to the containers and looked through the gap and screamed when she saw there was literally no way for her to get the car out. "You should fix this right now! You should fix this right now!" she demanded, storming towards Mr. Connex. He simply shrugged and told her that the containers were getting towed away on Wednesday next week. She could easily retrieve her car then. This only seemed to make her more mad, and at this point, me and some of the other larger dudes moved between her and the band director because she looked about ready to bite his head off. At this point, the director essentially delivered the ultimatum that if she had no further business on school grounds, she should leave or he'd call the SRO, School Resource Officer, a police officer stationed at the school. Her response was something along the lines of, "Call him! Call him! Show him what you did to my car! That's a crime!" I don't know what crime she thought the band director committed, but long story short, the SRO arrived, laughed his butt off, then instructed her to leave school grounds and come back for her car on Wednesday. She screamed at him a bit about how she couldn't walk 4 miles home. Oh, poor you. And the SRO, after a few minutes, was done with her crap and told her if she didn't leave school grounds immediately, she'd be cited for trespassing, at which point she left. The cherry on top. Over the weekend, someone stole the wheels off the car. So even after the containers were moved, she couldn't get her car until one of those portable service companies came and put new wheels on it at some point Friday afternoon. Next we've got, teacher tries to use my disabilities against me. I got her fired. This takes place in the fall of the 2016 to 2017 school year. I was a senior at the time. The teacher in question was an English teacher that I will call Miss Dog, because her name could also be a type of animal. Miss Dog was particularly nice for the most part. She had a really high-pitched and nasally voice that she loved to hear at all times. The first day of school, I introduced myself to her and asked if she read over my 504 plan. For people who do not know, a 504 plan is an accommodation plan used in public education when a student has certain disabilities that need accommodations. In my plan, it stated that I am a high-functioning autistic. I needed clear and concise written instructions and a special chair because of my spinal issues. I had scoliosis as a kid and had a spinal fusion operation my freshman year, so I was known as the girl with the back brace in middle school and the girl with the metal back in high school. Essentially, everyone in my grade, which was also everyone in this particular class since it was English 12, knew I needed a special chair. Back to the first day of school, I introduced myself to Miss Dog and asked if she read over my 504 plan. She brushes me off and does a, yeah. Okay, whatever. Teachers are busy and their jobs are really stressful. She probably has a million other things she had to get done. For the first week of class, I had to take some pain meds to get through English. Miss Dog would regularly get upset that I had brought a bottle of water with me to class every day and that I couldn't stay still in my seat. A classmate of mine, I'll call him Football Jock, spoke up and told the teacher that I do not have the special chair that I need. Miss Dog took that as an insult and was ready to chew out Football Jock when pretty much the entire class started to speak and agree with him. The weekend passes, and Monday I find my chair/desk hybrid thing replaced with a special chair and a separate desk. I had thought it was over. Oh boy, was I wrong. This was just the start. Fast forward to the middle of the semester. We had just finished reading Lord of the Flies. Great book, by the way. And we had an assignment to make a music soundtrack for a hypothetical movie of the book and explain what parts of the story would have what song played. Now, I'm a big Vocaloid fan, so I went all out, but I made sure to use English covers of songs that weren't in English. After we get the grades for the projects, I see that I got a C on it, which was really odd for me since I was a straight A student. I asked Miss Dog about it, and she told me her reasoning for the C was that I didn't know what any of those songs are. I was going to give you an F, but your written part and CD case were both perfect, so I gave you a C. All while not looking away from her computer screen. I wasn't happy with that answer. I told her, in the middle of class, when you said everyone did a good job, you mentioned that everyone's projects had songs you'd never heard before. Did you give everyone else an F as well? She turned to me with a big scowl, before just turning right back to her computer, where I saw her change my grade to an A-. Not the plus I wanted, but enough to save me from getting told off at home for getting a bad grade. And then comes the icing on the cake. All semester, Miss Dog had me doing things to kind of single me out. She always assigned me with the dumb kids of the class. No matter how stupid it sounds, this dude literally drew a picture when the question sheet said draw your own conclusions. And whenever Miss Dog did this, I would always calmly and politely take it up with her, and she'd fix it by next week with a sneer. It's December, right before the holidays. Miss Dog assigns a scholarly paper about a real social issue with 3 sources. The topics of the essays were assigned to us randomly. We had no say, and we couldn't even change them. So my topic was something along the lines of healthcare. I was also taking a health occupation class at the school district's vocational tech center, and my grandmother is a licensed medical biller, meaning I know a thing or two about health insurance. I ask Miss Dog for help, saying that I can't find a 3rd source for my stance. She tells me, 2 is fine then. I thank her for her help and get to work writing my essay. The due date is the day before the break, and we'll all turn our papers in. One happy Christmas and New Year's later, I get to English class. Miss Dog is standing up at the front of the class as we all come in, which is really odd for her to do. The bell rings and Miss Dog starts her rant. I had high hopes for these papers. I had hoped you all would follow the directions. She looked at me while making direct eye contact. I had hoped you all would know that I told you all 3 sources, not 2, 3. She went into a yelling tantrum about how someone didn't have 3 sources, making eye contact with me the entire time. I'm the kind of person to cry whenever someone is yelling in anger. It doesn't matter if it's directed at me or not. I'll cry. So after her rant, I took my stuff and left the classroom. I think I had gone to the band area to hide until the next class. While in my crying solitude, I finally said enough was enough. I'd usually just keep quiet about stuff like this. I was used to being teased for things since it happened a lot, and I thought this was no different. But it was. This jerk needed to pay. I got up and went to the office. I hated going to the office even though I never got in trouble. The feeling of just being in there just made me feel guilty. I asked to see the principal, and they let me. The principal of my high school was a very nice man that later went on to getting a position higher up in the school district after I had graduated. I sat down in the principal's office, and he was ready to hear the usual bully spiel a crying student would say. I took a second to compose myself and said, Miss Dog has been using my disabilities as a way to alienate me from the class and as a way to treat me as a lesser being in her class. She doesn't grade my work fairly, and she just screamed at me in front of the whole class to point out that I wasn't like the rest of the students in her class. I've never forgotten what I said, or the principal's face either. He sighed and muttered something along the lines of, God, not again with Dog. Turns out I was not the only disabled student that Miss Dog had done this to. Every student with any sort of mental or physical condition put in one of her classes was given this treatment by her. I decided to keep it going. It was already over for her, so why not make it as good as I could? Miss Dog has also repeatedly mistreated me during class by doing this and that. I went on for I don't remember how long with glorifying the events of everything that had happened in that class. I said how she had constantly threatened to fail me, how she'd give me bad grades wrongfully, how she did so many more things that may or may not have happened because of my condition. I also made sure to mention how most times her class was physically painful for me on most days because she would take my special chair and use it as a footrest and make me sit on an uncomfortable stool. Which was true, she did take my chair quite often and then scolded me for bringing a water bottle into the classroom when I had to take some meds for pain. I was Michelangelo, and all these accusations against Miss Dog was the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. My masterpiece. I don't snitch, but when I do, I squeal like a pig. Every single wrongdoing that Miss Dog had done to me, and others in my class as well, were told to the principal that day. For the rest of the semester, I had to spend the time I'd be in English in the main office. I was exempt from the exams for the class and had automatically passed due to my flawless straight A's and 3.7 GPA. I had learned that the day of exams, the principal had gone to Miss Dog's classroom when first period started. He told her that she wasn't allowed to administer the exams and that he would instead because she was fired and needed to get her personal belongings and leave the school property immediately. I don't know how true the part where she was fired in front of students was, since I was told that part by other students from the rumor mill. But I know for sure that she was indeed fired. But that wasn't it. I was in marching band in high school, and my school's band was about 300 kids in my senior year. My grandma also did their student accounts. I told my grandma to send a newsletter out to all the marching band parents about how they need to be aware that some teachers are not there for the best interest of their students, and we made sure to put Miss Dog's name in it, along with her crimes against little old me. 300 students, which meant around 600 or more parents. Parents that work at other school districts in some cases. Miss Dog is no longer allowed to work at any school or educational facility. She is also not allowed to work at places that work with disabled people. Last thing I heard of her, she was working 3 part-time jobs in fast food. Not 2, 3. Entitled Mom and Entitled Dad try to take my dog while at the pet store. This happened a year ago, and now that it is all behind me, I can finally share. The people. We've got Entitled Mom and Entitled Dad. We've got Entitled Kid 1, a girl that makes Veruca Salt look like a saint. Entitled Kid 2, a boy that really thinks everything that he wants automatically becomes his. We've got me. We've got HD, my happy all-the-time dog that loves meeting new people and other dogs. We've got my mother. We've got Ace, awesome store employee. We've got store manager, kennel manager, and other manager. So it was a Wednesday, and like all of the second Wednesdays of each month, my mom has chemo in a city about 1.5 hours away. I always go with her as she sometimes gets sick afterwards and I have to drive home. The only problem is that I have a dog that can't be left home for the amount of time we are gone. I found that a large retail pet store in the city also has boarding and pet sitting. I sign up and we drop her off while we are at the hospital all day. She loves going there and she really loves playing with other dogs all day. At night when we pick her up, she is usually dead tired and sleeps all the way home. We become regulars and most of the staff knows us at the kennel part of the store. On this particular day, we were dropping off Happy Dog at 9 and picking up at 4. We go and do our usual, doctors, chemo, lunch, and any shopping we want to do. We head back to the store around 3:30 to pick up Happy Dog. We walk around so we can watch Happy Dog play without her seeing us. The play areas for the dogs are in an area where customers can look in. I have my first encounter with Entitled Kid 1 and Entitled Kid 2. Entitled Kid 1. There are so many dogs, but I really like the brown and white little one right there, as she points to my dog. Entitled Kid 2. We should ask Mom and Dad for a dog. Entitled Kid 2. The dog you like really likes to play. Happy Dog is still a puppy at this time. I go in and the manager takes care of us. My mom had to go to the bathroom, then wants to go next door for a minute, and we agree for her to come back to get me when she is done. I take Happy Dog and put her in a cart to make it easier to get through the store. I wander to the cat aisle just to see what Happy Dog would do with the cats. This is where I am greeted by Entitled Mom, Entitled Kid 1, and Entitled Kid 2. Entitled Mom. Excuse me, my kids really like your dog. Can they pet her? Me. Sure. I get this often when Happy Dog is with me. No big deal. Entitled Mom. We just lost our dog, so all we have left is a cat. Me. Sorry to hear that. Entitled Kid 1. Mom, I really like this dog. Can we get him? Entitled Kid 2. I want that dog too, Mom. We have to get it. Me. Sorry, kids, but she isn't for sale. This is the point I should have walked away from them. Entitled Mom. Everything is for sale. Name your price. Me. Sorry, but you don't have that much money. We make more money in an hour than you will in your life. So name your price. Sorry. Again, she isn't for Entitled Kid 1. He likes us more than he likes you. The dog knows he will have a better life with us. So just give him to my mom and stop with the nonsense. Entitled Kid 2 at this point is trying to undo Happy Dog's leash. I keep it attached in such a way so to keep Happy Dog from jumping out of the cart when we go shopping. I snap at Entitled Kid 2. Leave it alone. It becomes a blur at this point. Entitled Kid 2 keeps trying to take Happy Dog. Entitled Mom degrading me. Entitled Kid 1 really degrading me. I just move us to the end of the aisle and then back over to the dog treats aisle. My biggest downfall is that I should have just left the store. I am looking at dental chews and get caught up in reading ingredients when it happened. I turn to put my choice in the cart, and my cart and dog are gone. I immediately start looking in the aisles. A store employee asks what the matter is, and I say that my cart and dog are gone. She radios to security, and I hear that they are in the back of the store in the corner. We go back there, and Happy Dog is out of the cart and wrapped in a jacket. Me. What are you doing with my dog? Entitled Mom. This is our dog. Entitled Kid. This is ours, you jerk. Leave us alone. It's our dog now. Entitled Dad. You couldn't afford a nice dog like this, so just go on. We don't talk to people like you. Me. Store employee. I had a problem with these people earlier when I wouldn't sell them my dog. Employee. Okay, let me talk to security. Security comes and escorts everyone to 2 rooms. They take Happy Dog back to the kennel. The store manager comes in, and I explain what happened, show her pictures of Happy Dog since she was a puppy that are on my phone. Then she goes to look at footage and talk to witnesses. The store manager finds out that Happy Dog and I are regulars. She brings the manager and kennel manager back up front with her. She asks me if I want to press charges, which I say yes. She then has security call the sheriff's department and leads me and Happy Dog into the room where they are waiting. Store manager. We have determined you all are not being truthful about the dog. Entitled Dad. We have papers to prove she is ours. Kennel manager. No, her name is Happy Dog, and she is his. Entitled Mom. No, she isn't. She is ours. What part of that don't you plebes understand? Other manager. Sorry, but no, she isn't. We've been seeing her since she was a puppy. No, you have not, moron. Entitled Dad. We are leaving with our dog. Security stops him and tells him no, he isn't. My mom finally comes back. An awesome store employee brings her back to where we are. One thing you should know is that Happy Dog loves her Grammy more than life itself. Also, my mom loves her deeply. When Happy Dog sees her, she immediately runs to her and lunges so hard my mom had to catch her. My mom. What is going on? Me. These idiots thought they could steal Happy Dog and get away with it. The sheriff's deputy finally gets there. He takes me, my mom, and Happy Dog into another room and gets my story. He then goes and talks with every witness and watches the footage. He then gets their side, which he got 3 different accounts of what happened. He comes back in and tells me that the 3, Entitled Dad, Entitled Mom, and Entitled Kid 1, are going to be charged. All 3 were arrested. They wouldn't plea bargain and wanted to go to trial. The trial itself wasn't pretty. I was in tears, and I am again typing this out, halfway through the DA's questioning. The lawyer for them kept trying to trip me up and say something wrong. He didn't. And the fun part, they sued me for $25,000. The judge laughed at that one and dismissed it. I am now going after the lawyer for ethics violations as well as sanctions from the court. She should have never put her name to that hot pile of garbage. It is a serious violation. I know you all want to know who took the card. All 3 did. Entitled Mom took it from where I was, then gave it to Entitled Dad, who then gave it to Entitled Kid 1. She pushed it to the back of the store and met up with all of them again. Do you have any pets like a cat or a dog? Please leave a comment letting me know. Next we've got, please don't go shopping right as a store is closing. For about 2 years, from ages 15 to 17, I worked at a local grocery store at the checkout line. I really hated the job, but I needed the money, so I pushed through it. Although I rarely remembered anyone I served during my time there were a few notable customers that everyone that worked in the store was aware of. They all did one thing in common. They had come into the store 5 to 10 minutes before closing and take their time shopping for groceries, forcing you to work past closing to wait for them. Here's a few characters that'll be relevant to the story. Names have been changed. Annoying Customer 1. More of an inconvenience than anything. She was annoying, but not rude. She had come before closing and always refused to use a cart, opting into carrying everything instead and complaining about the wait. Annoying Customer 2. Very rude customer. She had always come in right before closing, as well as have a bunch of coupons to sort out. She'd always hold back the line and cause a fuss. Karen. The worst of the worst. She was the customer most notorious of making you stay late, chewing you out, and dumping buckets of coupons onto the register upon checkout. Manager. One of my favorite managers was on that night. She was very polite and wasn't afraid to stick up for employees. Other characters I met this particular night. Annoying man and annoying woman. In short, this particular night had a series of miserable events, all happening within a span of about 10 minutes. The store I worked at closed at 10, and I was the closer that night. It was just me and manager there, and as 9:30 rolled up, I was anxious to get out of there and go home. Everything was going completely fine until I saw the familiar face of annoying Customer 1 walk in the door. I rolled my eyes to myself as I imagined having to stay a few minutes late to deal with her. However, my night was far from done. On cue, annoying Customer 2 walked in from the other side of the store. At this point, I knew I was in for a miserable night, especially when she yelled, "I'm here!" from across the store. Just when I thought the night couldn't get any worse, in walks Karen. At this point, I thought I was going insane. The 3 most horrible customers all walked in within 1 minute of each other, and I knew they wouldn't be done in the 30 minutes until closing. 10 o'clock rolls around, and as I suspected, Karen, annoying Customer 1, and annoying Customer 2 had yet to show up in line. At about 10:10, my manager made an announcement that everyone needed to bring their items to the register as we were officially closed. Finally, annoying Customer 1 walked in line at about 10:15. She complained about her bag being too heavy and used all her coupons, but I took care of her relatively easily. I wait another 5 minutes, and in walks Karen, annoying Customer 2, and 2 other customers into the line. Annoying man and annoying woman. I take care of Karen first, who pulls out her usual bag of plastic bags full of coupons, spare change, and rubber bands. She gives me about 10 coupons to ring up. I check her out, and she doesn't have quite enough money on her. She then goes register to register, grabbing change from the take a penny cup on each register. She finally gets within $1 when I tell her that she's fine. She then stands and watches me bag her groceries, yelling at me to triple bag everything. She only had a few items, and it somehow nearly took her an hour to pick all of them out. Next up was annoying Customer 2. She also pulled out her coupons, then gave me a hard time for having such a long line and being understaffed. At this point, manager was working with me, and we were bagging the groceries together. We checked annoying customer out, then we're left with annoying man and annoying woman. Annoying man went first, and I checked him out rather incident-free. He comes back later in the story. At this time, I hear a banging on the window, and a woman, presumably a friend of annoying woman, is pounding on the window, seeming to be yelling, "What is taking so long?" My manager and I both ignored her and started taking care of annoying woman. All she was buying was a gift card, and no matter what I did, it would not scan. After trying everything possible, my manager said she'd take care of it at the service desk and told me to go home. All of this time, annoying woman was yelling at me about how late it is and how bad our service is for the gift card not working. Finally, I am able to check out at around 10:40. I walk over to the door, and annoying man is still standing by it. Apparently, because it was so late, the doors had to be auto-locked, an annoying man couldn't get the doors open. This usually is an easy fix, and the door unlocks easily. But annoying man had messed around with the door, and now I couldn't get it open either. After trying to get the door open for about 5 minutes, I go and get my manager, who's still taking on annoying woman. My manager comes over, and she can't get the door open either. Apparently, annoying man had broken the door by trying to force it open so hard. Now it's me, my manager, and annoying man and woman all at the locked door. Both customers are yelling at us about our poor customer service and how dangerous it is for the door to lock. After another 5 to 10 minutes of messing around with the door, me and manager finally are able to get the door open despite the broken lock. I left the store that night at about 10:55. Please don't go shopping right as the store is closing. Have you ever had to stay at work late because of an annoying customer? Please leave a comment letting me know. Next we've got, but you're wearing a uniform. We've got me. We've got crazy lady and security guard. A bit of backstory. I work, as I have mentioned in other stories, in a Japanese restaurant here in Switzerland. Our uniform is completely black, so black trousers, black shoes, a black shirt with green writing on the back, a black short apron, and a green name tag. It was late when we realized that we were missing something essential for the next day that we need to buy today, since the shops will be closed the next day, Sunday. The shop right next to us was already closed, so we decided that I'll quickly go to the store in like 5 minutes walking distance. Since we were getting more and more packed by the minute, I decided to make a run for it and not put on my jacket, so it was me in my uniform. I enter the mentioned store and head straight for the aisle that I needed to grab something from. On my way there, I pass a guy who then asks me where the ice cream is. I, completely stressed out, point to my name tag, which has the restaurant logo printed on it, and say, "I don't work here, sorry," and continued walking. I laughed at this encounter because it was very obvious that I don't work here, but I don't think much of it. I turn around the corner and already see the aisle I need to head into when I feel a sharp tap on my shoulder. I turn around and am faced with a middle-aged lady with bleached hair. "Excuse me," she starts. "Where is this brand of bread?" I grin. This is hilarious. Two people not being able to see the obvious difference between my black and slightly green uniform and the light blue with orange uniform of the store. Me. "I'm sorry, I don't work here." "Yes, you do. You're wearing a uniform." "Well, yes, but not the store uniform." "See, uniform. Also, I saw you talking to another customer before. So where's this bread?" Me, obviously confused. "Excuse me, I don't work here, but I saw a store worker a few aisles back. Maybe crazy lady cuts me off." "I don't want to be served by someone else. I want to be served by you. Now don't be lazy and do your job." "Look, I don't work here. Leave me be." At this point, I just walk off and grab the needed item and head for the self-checkout. I'm standing in line next to a security guard when I again feel a tapping on my shoulder. It's crazy lady again. "Young lady, this was very rude of you to just walk off. I want to speak to your supervisor." Me. "I don't work here. I work at the restaurant. Leave me be. I need to get back to work." Crazy lady then starts a rant about how I am making excuses, but doesn't get far. Security guard interrupts her. Security guard to crazy lady while pointing at me. "Excuse me, but she obviously does not work here." "Yes, she does. Don't try to cover for her. She's wearing a uniform." Me. "I am wearing a uniform, but not the store uniform, because I don't work here." Security guard. "Madam, she's wearing a black uniform. The store uniform is blue and orange. Let me get you an actual store worker to help you, but you need to stop harassing her." Crazy lady huffs, but then decides to take the security guard's offer. And I was finally able to pay and rush back to my actual work. And this is where the story ends because I don't have time to lurk around. Next we've got, entitled ex-friend ruined my credit score. Took him to court. So now I have been to court proceedings for this. Now I can tell you my horrible experience of entitled people. Mainly someone I thought I could trust. So me and Karen were friends for a while. She claimed she was disabled, so she would get me to come over every single day, clean, and get food for her. The amount of money she owes me for miscellaneous stuff, which isn't even a quarter of what she owes me for this experience, I'm going to tell you. So Karen had a broken phone. Surprise, surprise, as she has a vile temper. So I went home one night, and she called me to say that her phone was unusable and was getting quite aggressive over it. I said she could get her phone fixed. She said no, and that she wanted a new phone, mainly being a really expensive phone at the time, Samsung Galaxy S8. She was looking at contracts and was saying, "Oh, I can't get it out for myself. Can you get it out for me in your name, and I'll pay you the payments of £44 each month?" Considering my phone was secondhand on a cheap SIM-only contract and couldn't afford this phone contract myself, I was really reluctant to get it for her. But she persuaded me that she would pay the payments every month, so I reluctantly agreed. Big mistake number 1. So the next day we went out and got the contract and phone out. She was beaming with excitement, always saying thank you and telling people how amazing I was for getting this phone out for her. I was quite proud of the fact that indeed it was a nice phone and that I was making someone happy. I'm a people pleaser, which is big mistake number 2. So 2 days later, she changed the direct debit details to come out of her own bank account and informed me of this. Remember this, because this will be handy near the end. So I was in a long-distance relationship with my partner, and we would see each other every 2 weeks and always do fun things together. Karen did not like this one bit. So my partner came over for the Christmas period to spend time together, and before New Year, she wanted to speak to me. She was yelling at me for my partner inviting her and her boyfriend to fireworks for New Year, and was making horrible accusations about me and my past. I got really upset and went home with my partner. Me and my partner had a lovely New Year's together, and he eventually went home afterwards. She texted me asking me to come over, and when I went over, I was the mouse and she was the cat, shouting all these accusations about me and my partner and saying I was a horrible friend. I walked out, and as I was leaving, she said, "I'll pay for the contract, but we are done," and I never went back. Scroll now to 3 months later. I moved away to be with my partner and was getting my life sorted. I got a call from the mobile provider. They said that there are outstanding payments on Karen's contract. The contract was restricted, and the only payment that had been made was a payment that I made. I had debt collection agencies chasing me for money a month previous, which I actually thought was for my own internet contract, as I was struggling to make ends meet at one point. I was shocked. She had not paid a single penny. Nothing. I was angry, upset, just thinking of my own financial situation. I said that I will sort out the outstanding, and I'll be in contact. My partner was so cross that he actually messaged Karen's boyfriend and was saying that she hadn't made any payments and also some home truths. Karen then rang me, shouting and screaming at me. My partner took the phone and repeated the following: "Why haven't you paid your bill?" You had to repeat what you would say to her. She wouldn't stop screaming. Then she stopped and said, "Why should I pay for it when I can't use it?" We hung up eventually, and my partner got a message back saying, "It's your problem, not ours." So I messaged Karen back the actual reason why she can't use the phone, because she has made no payments for the phone. So I had been in contract for over a month with the mobile provider sorting out this contract and got the phone blacklisted. Remember this also, this will become very handy. And I sorted the early termination fees and outstandings. Karen now owed me near to $1,000 at this point. I was in contact with Citizens Advice and the police. This was a civil matter and had to give her a chance to pay me back before I took it further. I wrote a civil letter stating about the phone contract that she owed me £766 and she could pay me £100 a month back to repay me, and if she failed to pay me back or respond to the letter, this would be taken to court. I had the letter sent and recorded delivery so I would know when she would receive the letter. A day after I sent it, she contacted me. Messages galore. She said that I was mad that she would be able to pay back £100 a month, as she was now pregnant. I said okay, then pay me £50 a month. No, that was too steep as well, considering I had paid nearly £800 in a space of 3 months. I said okay, pay me £25 a month. Anything is good. Don't really want it to go to court, but I won't have a choice if you don't pay. She agreed to £25 a month, considering this would take her over 3 years to pay back. I said okay, I'll send a contract down for you to sign, and I need that back in 7 days. She said okay. I thanked her for this, being so civil, and ended it there. A week later, no contract back. So I contacted her where the contract is. She just said, "I'm away, so I won't be able to send it on time." I said okay, I'll give you another 7 days to send it back. Did she? No. I contacted her again, and this time I got nothing back, so I had no choice at this point. So here goes court proceedings. We added interest on, postage, and the court fee we had to pay to start the proceedings. She completely denied the fact that she owed me this money, claimed it was a gift, and claimed that I was the reason she miscarried for all this stress. Oh, that made me push further for a win. I got all the evidence I needed from the mobile provider, including the fact the payment details were changed 2 days after the contract was made, and the account details for that. 2 folders later of just paperwork, I sent them to both the court and to Karen. Got nothing from Karen. The hearing was approaching. However, she claimed that she was again pregnant 2 months after she miscarried, and claimed that the court should be adjourned as she was high risk. They adjourned it 2 days before the hearing was meant to be going ahead. We were planning to drive 200 miles for this, and now again out of pocket for accommodation. She was told by court that she had to prove that she was not allowed to attend because of her pregnancy. They gave her 2 weeks, and they and myself received nothing. The judge was having none of it now and made a new hearing date, which was yesterday. She was also given another chance to send evidence. She sent a half-written statement totally denying my statements and evidence, considering she now had mine for 4 months. So that pushed me even more to get more evidence to back myself up from her claims in court. We waited again for phone calls for adjournments, but they said no, we ain't adjourning again. Thank God. So we went down 200 miles to court, stayed at a pretty nice hotel, and got the receipt for that so we could claim. So court date arrived. I was so nervous to see her. This was bad. We arrived at the court and we were ready. Me and my partner were called in and the judge said, "I'm sure that you are aware that Karen won't be attending today." Nope, we weren't aware. She asked me questions about my statement and said that the payment details were in fact changed 2 days after the contract was made. She asked for the paperwork and I gave her the email I got from the mobile provider confirming it and the matching numbers to the ending account number and sort code. Of course, they were Karen's, even though she has purposely changed her bank to spite me. She asked us to leave the room while she made her decision. At this point, my whole body shook. Eventually, we both got called back and she made her decision. She said, "I am dissatisfied of the defendant's statements claiming this was a gift, as the payment details were in fact changed 2 days after the contract was made. I am, however, satisfied that you got this out for her on the condition that she would pay the amount every month, so therefore I am ruling in your favor." Cue happy tears and celebration. So I was awarded the judgment of the full debt, including interest, court fees, accommodation, and fuel, which then made 766 pounds turn into 1,106 pounds. Karen now has to pay in 14 days, or I can take this to bailiffs. Oh, about the phone. Remember I said it was blacklisted? Well, Karen's boyfriend tried selling the phone and is now banned from the store for life. Entitled Mom wants to use my car money to pay off her debt. My mother, Entitled Mom, has a problem with money. She has about 10 credit cards and owes over $3,000 to her boss because she borrows money. I have to pay $1,250 to her each month for rent and pay all of my bills on my own, which is $50 for my phone and food/necessities. I try not to ask her for money unless I absolutely need it or can pay her back the next day. This leaves me with no savings and nothing left over by the time I get my last paycheck. Well, I'm getting promoted to a position with a slightly better pay, which could help me start saving for my future. The catch is, I have to have reliable transportation as I'm being transferred to a location that is 15 minutes away, instead of 5 minutes from my house, and an open availability. My mom drives our only car to work in the morning and doesn't return until evening, so I have to work night shifts. I give just about all of my money to my mother so we won't be homeless. I don't have money to do things with friends, buy myself anything, and my job is very mentally and physically demanding. I basically do slave labor because everyone is seeing money except me. I have thought about getting another job, but I already work long hours and don't get much sleep during the day because my mom is a very loud person and talks to me / keeps the TV at max volume, etc. Asking her to be quiet does not help, as she always says, "You're always asleep when I get home. You sleep all day. You're just lazy. When I was your age..." Yeah, when you were my age, you were also getting in trouble. Well, my grandmother lives very comfortable and offered to give me my grandfather's car because he can no longer drive and I am in need of a car to continue my career. I expect to stay with this company as the people/company take good care of its employees once they get promoted to management. Unfortunately, the car was stolen before we could drive down to pick it up. My grandmother, in turn, offered to give me $4,500 to buy a new car. My mom tells me this, along with her plan on how she's going to use my money. The conversation went roughly like this. Entitled Mom: Gran said she wants to give you $4,500 for a car. Me: That's cool and all, but do you think they will find the car? Entitled Mom, ignoring me like usual: What I'll do is fix the oil leak on this car, from when she drove after a surgery instead of calling me and crashed. $800. And then pay off my boss, and then ask Gran to co-sign a car for me, and I'll make the payments and you can drive this car. 2003, always needing a fix. Me: How much do you owe your boss? Entitled Mom: $3,000. Me: No. What do you mean, no? I don't get anything out of that. It's not my fault you owe that much money and have debt because you keep buying furniture and shoes you never wear. Literally, dozens of brand new shoes that sit in their box while I wear the same 2 to 3 pairs for the last 2 years because if I want new shoes, I need to buy them. Entitled Mom: Then I won't have a car to drive to work, and you will have to take me and pick me up every day. Me: I'm sorry, but if anyone is going to have her cosign, it's going to be me. You have terrible credit. I have no credit. I want to build my credit and have something of my own. Your $3,000 debt is not my fault, and you're not going to use my car money and make promises you can't realistically keep. And I'm not driving an unreliable car that you ruined. At this point, she just starts screaming about how selfish I am and that she's only been in debt because of me. She picked an expensive place to live so she wouldn't have to spend an extra $100 on gas per week, even though we pay around $1,000 more on rent than if we lived 45 minutes away from her work than 10. She buys herself clothes and shoes and jewelry that she never wears because she never goes out. She drinks a lot and lounges around after work until she goes to bed. Lazy sound familiar? Did I mention she has a desk job? She keeps using Fingerhut to buy Ninja kitchen stuff or swaps out furniture because you can buy moderately expensive items on payment plans, except they add about $100 to $300, which she would rather pay to get the item now than save and get it later. I have no idea if my grandmother is giving us a check or cash, but I hope it's a check in my name, as my mom would not give it to me otherwise. She'd say something like, "You're irresponsible. I'll hold on to it." Or, "I already told you, I'm using the money." Do you know how stupid that would make us look to my grandmother? She would never offer to help us again because she would feel scammed. I would be out of a car and unable to fulfill the promotion demands. I'll be stuck in the same boat I am now, giving all my money to my mom and not having a penny to my name a week later. I'll update this when something happens, like getting the money or, hopefully, the stolen car being found and getting it. Edit. The rent is not just $1,250. Rent is around $2,200. It may seem like a lot for an apartment, but it's actually a really nice 2-floor townhouse with community amenities, security and a gate, vaulted ceilings, good location that stays cool in summer, and I now get to have my own bedroom, which I have never had for myself until I was 19, and a personal bathroom/shower and a walk-in closet. I pay half the rent and give her money for car insurance because she has a great driving record and it's cheaper to have me on hers than my own. Edit 2. She won't steal my car. That would be pointless. She can't sell a stolen car. My county is really good on that. Unfortunately, the car I should be getting, which is stolen, is 2 counties away where car theft is common. She doesn't want my car. She just wants the money because it's already coming. Do you think that Entitled Mom has any right to OP's money? Or none whatsoever? Please leave a comment letting me know. Next we've got Karen throws food and drinks in my face for not giving her free parking. Happened a few years ago during a football game. The home team's college was providing free parking for game attendees in various lots near the stadium. I used to live very close to the stadium, just a block or 2 away, with a gravel front yard as a driveway. Some people are thrown off by our driveways being parallel to the road, but they usually understand it's not a parking space as there is usually grass between the driveway and road. Unfortunately, the day would come where I would meet a wild Karen in front of my family and we would all almost go to jail for it. It was a single mother Karen in a pickup with her kids, and she had not only pulled into my driveway, but also blocked the gate to my house. My car was in the driveway, so she had to drive over grass in order to park on my driveway, which should have been the first. Almost immediately, my grandpa confronts her and tells her that she was on my property and that free parking was 2 houses down. She didn't take too kindly to that and started screaming about how we're supposed to provide free parking to all visitors. I rush over to the source of the yelling from the neighbor's house and find an irate Karen yelling at my grandpa. So I ask her to leave when she demanded the free parking promised by the college. We told her this wasn't part of the college and to go literally 2 houses down to get a free space or directions to one by a college staff. More yelling ensued, and I decided to take pictures of their license plate plus make and model in case I need to call the police. The daughter saw me take a pic and jumped out of the truck to yell at me before going back to yell at my grandpa. There really isn't much to say about the daughter because I couldn't understand her through her screaming. When I told Karen she needed to leave before I called the cops, she responded by throwing drinks and food at me and my grandpa before I promptly slammed her car door and caused a drink to bounce off the window and spill all over the interior of the truck. At this point, people have gathered around to watch. A few moments later, the cops arrived and separate us. They talked to witnesses and us first before talking to Karen, who responded to everyone's testimony by claiming we said something illegal. Where I live, there are laws restricted on what you can say, and Karen was hoping to get back at us by accusing us of violating these laws. I don't want to get into details because it's a very hot topic, and I learned to just be quiet and deal with it. The police officers detained us for questioning, but one of them saw straight through Karen's ploy, and they explained what we can and can't say. If someone else reports us for saying the wrong thing, then they would personally come back to arrest us. Karen was then given a huge fine and told to leave. In the end, Karen wasted valuable time, got a huge fine, and made a fool of herself in front of everyone when she could have just drove a couple houses down. Next we've got, Not Today, Karen. I used to work retail. I worked for a chain grocery store from the Midwest, then a blue home improvement store, then a coffee shop chain. Pick one of the 2 most popular in America. I worked in both for a time. So I have had my fair share of retail experience. I have had some bad customers and some good ones. But now that I have graduated college and I am working in my career field of choice, I teach. I am happy to say I do not miss retail. I still go out of my way to treat the workers politely. Even if I am having a bad day, they didn't ask to be the target of anyone's wrath. No one gets paid enough for that. On that note, yesterday I was having a terrible day. You know the kind. You sleep through your alarm, or you get stuck in traffic, or someone at work pushed your buttons too far. Or, if you're a lady, that time started and you don't have any ibuprofen in your purse. Basically, picture yourself after a bad day where you question every single one of your life choices and contemplate fleeing into Iceland and marrying a sheep farmer. Because why? But I needed to go grocery shopping after work. I try to do my shopping during the week simply because there are less people. And if you choose your day just right, it could be restock day or the day after so the shelves aren't empty or items aren't already sold out. So I thought I could just go to Walmart and grab some things that I needed. Door stoppers, lunches for a week, shampoo, Advil, cereal, and milk. And to hopefully slip away before the evening rush hit from desperate people who are coming off of work themselves, people who need milk or whatever. So here I am, in my work uniform, black pants, dark blue blouse, and with my lanyard from work around my neck and my jacket. It's a simple one with some keys, my ID, and it's blue because that was one of our school colors. I know, I really should have removed it when I went shopping, but sometimes I forget that I even have it on. I am just so used to it being there. I was in a really bad mood because it was one of those days, and I was just not going to have anyone's BS. Too bad no one warned Karen. I was in the frozen section digging through the vegetable steamers so that I can have some lunches for the next week or so, and trying to find the ones that I liked. This Walmart, for whatever reason, just throws the bags in there, so it's more like digging through and praying they have the steamers you like. I finally found a few and threw them in my cart when I heard it. The dreaded ahem. Knowing stories from this sub, I instantly go into defense mode and instead of turning, just look at this person over my shoulder, hoping that would deter them. Enter Karen. I'm guessing in her 50s or 60s. Short hair. Why am I describing her? You know who this simpleton is. Karen. Can I get in there? I need my rice. Me. Foolishly thinking she was just being her version of polite and wanting to dig through Steamer Mountain. Oh, sure. I move my cart and my steamers aside and continue browsing the frozen meals. I see her digging through the mountain and silently wish her luck. I continue on when I suddenly hear the sound of heels stomping into concrete and 2 sharp jabs at the back of my shoulder. I turn more this time and look at her. Me. Yes? Don't you have any more rice with vegetables? And why wasn't it organized? Me. How should I know? The workers here never do that. You should know because they are your workers. Honestly, the integrity of some people. Me. I don't, Karen, as if I'm not even there. And what about the ones in your cart? Are they expired or something? She actually moves to my cart, which has my purse in the kid's seat, and starts sifting through what groceries I do have. These are the ones I was looking for. You can't set them aside for yourself. Customers come first. Me, holding back annoyance. Ma'am, those are mine, and get me the store manager. I cannot believe you would deliberately hide things from— Hey! If you would take this second to stop and listen, you would hear what I am trying to say. I gesture to myself. I am not in any way in a Walmart uniform. I see her open her mouth, but I cut her off, grabbing my lanyard and holding it up. This is not a name badge for Walmart. This is my ID for my actual job. See? So I am going to ask you one time to put my groceries down and leave me alone. Karen, throwing my groceries down and actually grabbing my cart, clearly scrambling for what she thinks is dignity. I didn't know, you little jerk. You millennials are all the same, so rude and entitled. Me. Nope, not today. I am not putting up with this today. Super Saiyan mode activated. I cannot believe you would be so rude and then try to turn it around on me when I am defending myself from you. She goes to probably shriek at me, but I hold my hand up. No, I am not done talking. Just because you don't happen to work retail doesn't mean you can come in here and scream at random people or go through their carts. The employees work hard to support families or put themselves through school and have to put up with people like you. You are the one who is in the wrong but can't admit it, and you are the one that is being rude. I yank my cart from her grasp, ignoring her trying to yell back at me, but I just don't care at this point. I forego the rest of my list and turn around, leaving the aisle. I wasn't really in the mood to finish my shopping after that, so I paid for what was in my cart and left without further incident. I'll just have to go tonight or early in the morning on the weekend. I know I didn't conduct myself very well, but I was already in a bad mood, and I was not going to put up with a Karen. I would have honestly let it go if she didn't keep trying to blame me or bring age into it. Also, I know it's not as exciting as some stories on this subreddit, given that I didn't see her again and no one else got involved, but still holding the spirit. Honestly though, everyone needs to work retail or be waitstaff at least once just to get some respect for the people that do. Ouch. Can we please get some Fs in the comments for Karen? Next we've got the most frustrating customer of all time. I fix phones for a living, and I have this one regular customer come in, and every time she drops a device off, she always spends between 3 to 7 minutes having a conversation with me that goes a little like the following. We've got mother, we've got the daughter, and we've got me. How much is this? Me. If it just needs this repair, then it costs this much, and I can get it done within this amount of time. Will it work? Me. It should do. If it doesn't, I won't charge you. I don't charge for diagnosis. I've never charged you for diagnosis, but from what I can see, it just needs this repair, and that costs this much. Will it work though? It should, yes. Is it okay though? I'm not 100% sure until I've tried it, but it looks like it should be fine with a new repair. I'll let you know if it'll be extra before I do the work. What if it doesn't work? If it doesn't work, I won't charge you. I don't charge to just check things over. Do I have to pay if it doesn't work? No, I don't charge for diagnosis. I can't afford it. Okay, well it's this much for that repair. If you can't afford that right now, I can't do the repair for you today. What if I can't afford it? I'm on benefits. If I get the phone working and you want it done, I can do it now. And you can collect it when you have money. Or you can bring it back when you can afford it. Will it work? I'm not 100% sure until I've tried it. You'll have to leave it with me. Can you fix it? I should be able to! Yes! Do you think you can do it? I should be able to. Yes. Can you do it today? Yes. But if it works and you want it back today, I'll need payment today. Will it work? I can only let you know if you leave it with me. Okay. Will you let me know, though? Because I've got anxiety and I'm on benefits, and I can't afford it. I understand. I will call you straight away if I know it will be extra. Otherwise, I'll just let you know when it's done. Will you let me know, though? Will you call me when it's done? Yes. I'll call you as soon as it's done. I promise. And you'll let me know if it's extra? Yes. I'll quote you if it's any more than just this repair for this much. She then proceeds to call me / come back to the shop every half hour and ask if it's done yet and if it's any extra. I do always call her when I have updates too. So anyways, I had this other customer, this woman's daughter, but I didn't know this at the time, bring in her phone to me the other day saying it was water damaged. She had no other way of contacting her, so I said to her that I usually try and get a quote within the hour, but every water damaged device is different, and I might have to work on it for a bit longer, or I might be able to tell you a bit sooner. If you want to pop back in an hour, I'll let you know how I'm getting on, but I can't guarantee an answer by then. I spent 3 hours working on it, cleaning it, etc., and got it to turn on with a screen and battery, but couldn't test further as I didn't have her passcode. She said she wanted nothing done, so she walked out with it with all her original parts, phone non-working and paid nothing. The mom then brought the daughter's phone back in yesterday and asked me to have another look, as it was her daughter's phone. I said, I had a look yesterday, and it needed a battery for it to turn on, but if you want it functional, you'll need a screen because even though there is display, there's no touch, and if you want me to test anything else, I need the passcode. Okay. Can I leave it with you and you can have a look? Then can't you let me know? Yes, that's fine. I'll give you a call. So I call her later in the day, after monitoring the battery and testing the screen. The daughter answers and I say, I've had a battery in there all day. It's been fine. For a new one, it's 25 pounds. I'll need your passcode to test any further, and your screen isn't fully functional, so you'll need a replacement. That would be 40 pounds. Daughter. So it turns on with a battery? Yes. So does it work then? Yes, it will need a screen for you to be able to use it, but it does turn on with just a battery and your current screen has display. Is it ready now? I've just got parts rigged up at the minute. I need your confirmation to do any work. Okay, I just want a battery for now. I don't want the screen. Okay, but your screen isn't actually functioning right now. Are you sure you just want a battery? Yes, $40 is too much. Just do the battery, and I'll get it in the morning. So I fit just the battery, and wait for her to come in the next day. The mom came in to collect it today, and we have the following conversation. Does it all work? It turns on. You get display, but you'll need a new screen if you want to be able to use it, and I can't test it without a passcode. So it comes on then? Yes. What if it doesn't work? What do I do? It will need a screen for you to be able to use it, and I can't test anything else without a passcode. It's a water-damaged device, so there's no warranty at all. If you pay for it before you've let me test it, and you say you don't want a screen on it now, that's fine. But if anything else at all doesn't work, your screen, your cameras, your speakers, your microphone, your signal, anything at all, there's no warranty. And since you've not let me check it before paying, I'm not liable. So if I get you the passcode before I pay, you can check it all over? Exactly, yes. So does it work now then? It turns on, but you can't use the screen, and I can't say whether any other functions work or not without a passcode to test it. How much is a screen? 40 pounds. Oh, I don't think I can do that. I'll just pay for the battery now, and she can get it later. Are you sure? There's no warranty. The screen does not work. If anything else does not work, I am not liable and there's no refunds. Will the phone work though? No. You need a screen and I can't test anything without her passcode. So if I pay for it now and it doesn't work, can I bring it back? You can, and I'll have a look, but there's no warranty and no refunds. I've told you I need the passcode, and it needs a screen. Okay, well I'll pay now and she can pick it up later. So she pays, and around an hour later, the daughter comes in, picks it up, leaves, comes back 5 minutes later, and we have the following conversation. My screen doesn't work at the top. It won't let me press anything. I know. I quoted you and your mom for one, and you both said you didn't want one. Okay then, thanks. She then left, and around 5 minutes later, her mom calls me. She said the phone doesn't work. You said it did. No. I said it needs a screen, and I can't test it. But you both told me at least 5 times you don't want a screen. And you insisted on paying before I had the passcode. Oh, okay. So it needs a screen? Will that fix it then? I had a screen on it yesterday and it worked. If you bring it back in, I can take another look. But it did work with a screen. Obviously, I can't check anything else without a passcode, though. Are you sure? What if it doesn't work? Like I just said, I had a screen on it yesterday and it worked. I told you yesterday it needed a screen. If you bring it in, I'll try a screen. And if it doesn't work, I won't charge you for trying it again. How much is a screen? 40 pounds. I can't afford that. Can't you do it half price? I spent 3 hours labor on it Saturday that hasn't been charged for. I'm not giving any discounts. I've been upfront with the pricing from the beginning. Okay, see you tomorrow. I honestly am running out of patience with her, and I'm getting sick of explaining to her every single time that I'll call her when it's done. If the price changes, if there's more wrong, etc. I can't be any more transparent about my pricing, my timescales, and my work. I just hope she listens to me next time she's in. No, I won't give your kid a rabbit for free. I breed rabbits. I raise a few different breeds, primarily for my dinner table, but also for showing and supporting other breeders and FFA kids needing project livestock. I rarely sell pets and never advertise them as pets. On the rare occasion I get a pet inquiry, I'll sell only a rabbit that's suitable for pet dom, friendly, not aggressive, and most importantly, if the inquirer seems like they've researched rabbit ownership and agrees to return the rabbit if for some reason they have to rehome it. I never sell rabbits for holidays or birthdays. I am picky with pet homes, as the life of pet rabbits can go one of 2 ways. They're loved and kept for the entirety of their lives, or they're bounced around from home to home when the novelty wears off, and eventually end up in a shelter or as a bait animal, or as someone's dinner. Okay, on to the story. We've got entitled Mom. She was loud. We've got her daughter, who was 4 and didn't do anything wrong. We've got my friend / show buddy, and me. I was at a rabbit show with a friend. It was midday, and we had finished 2 of the 3 shows taking place that day. It was lunch break, and friend and I were finishing up our sandwiches and were prepping our show lineup for the next show, when this rather large woman, entitled Mom, and her kid, her daughter, they approached our setup, looking at the rabbit I had on my table. Entitled Mom. What an adorable bunny. Look at that bunny, daughter. Her daughter. Oh. Me. Thank you. It was a very cute rabbit, lopped ears and all white with blue eyes. How much is it? Oh, this one isn't for sale. He's one of my show rabbits. Note, I had a chalkboard with the available rabbits listed. Most of the sales that take place at shows are other breeders and FFA youth breeders / showers. At this point, I had no clue if Entitled Mom was a breeder or if she was looking for a rabbit appropriate for her kid to show. It was rare that people showed up looking for pets at a show, since most of the availables are rabbits that will be priced for show / breeding and depending on quality can be pricey. I pointed out my chalkboard and told her I could show her whoever she was interested in. She balked at my prices. Why are these so expensive? Those are absolutely ridiculous prices. My cheapest rabbit was $60. Most expensive was $200. Me. They're priced off quality. If you want a decent show rabbit, they'll be more than a brood quality rabbit. Entitled Mom. I just want a pet for my daughter, so you don't need to charge us so much. Me. Oh, I see. Unfortunately, none of the rabbits I brought are appropriate for a kid's pet. What? Why? The big ones are friendly, but weigh over 12 pounds. They're too big for her to handle easily. The little ones are aggressive. They require an experienced handler. They aren't friendly or cuddly at all and aren't available for a pet home. They're available to other breeders. Entitled Mom. But they're so little. What harm can they do? Me. Holds a pin in front of one of the small rabbit's noses. It chomps down and tries to pull the pin from my hand. They're bred to be high-strung, so they pose upright and rigidly. The breed is generally not a good pet breed. Entitled Mom. Fine, we'll take a big one. The two I have available are $150 and $200. Both are proven and registered grand champions. Entitled Mom. I am not paying that much for a rabbit. You are out of your mind. Me. I am not going to lower their prices. They are worth it and will be a great addition to any breeder's herd. They really are too large for your daughter to safely handle anyway. If they don't feel secure while being held, they will kick out of fear. Such a large rabbit could seriously hurt a kid. There might be other exhibitors selling rabbits more appropriate for your daughter and at a pet price. At that moment, one of my breeds was called over the megaphone. Lunch break was over. I scooped up the rabbit off the table and started to move towards the show tables. Me. Excuse me, I need to put my rabbits up. The judging is starting up. Entitled Mom, ignoring me. I don't understand why there's so much. You should just give daughter a rabbit because she'll love it and give it a good home. Daughter was looking at the rabbits in transport cages, clearly enthralled by all of them. She seemed particularly interested in the small, high-strung ones. She was being good though, not touching and not whining to hold any of them. Me. I won't give away any of my rabbits. Excuse me. Entitled Mom. I'm trying to do business with you. You're going to brush off a paying customer? That's incredibly rude. I can see why no one has bought any of your rabbits. You're being a selfish jerk. Me. Listen, lady, this is a rabbit show, not a pet store. I'm an exhibitor, not an employee. I don't have to sell anything to you. I didn't have to explain to you why none of the rabbits would be a good match for you, and I most certainly don't have to lower any of my prices for someone claiming they're not worth it because they aren't educated enough to know a purebred from a mutt. Go look on Craigslist if you want a $20 rabbit. You won't find that here. I do not deserve to be called names because you think you're entitled to other people's time and property. Now, I need to get my rabbits up. Get out of my way. She muttered some insult which I didn't clearly hear, but I ignored her. I spent the next 15 minutes or so taking rabbits to the table and watched the judging. All of a sudden, I hear a scream coming from the direction of my staging area. I look over to see Entitled Mom flailing about with a tiny rabbit latched onto the squishy part of her hand, between the pointer finger and the thumb. She's screaming, understandably, as rabbit bites hurt, and pulling the rabbit from the hind end. My friend is trying to grab the rabbit and not having any luck since Entitled Mom is flailing about like a fish. I'm mad. I'm also mean when I'm angry, and I'm seeing red. We have clip-on notices on the transport cages that clearly say, "Do not touch," and "I bite." This moron went into my cages while I wasn't looking and tried to remove one of my rabbits. I run to her, grab her by the wrist, and scream at her to hold still, otherwise she'll never get the rabbit off. She's obviously in pain. Daughter is crying from the commotion, and friend is looking pale and wide-eyed at the whole ordeal. The rabbit is breathing hard, bleeding from his rear foot and not letting go. I do the only thing I could think of and use my pin to pry him off. She screams and tries to jerk away, which makes me snarl a very angry, "Hold still." Entitled Mom. You're hurting me. Me. Do you want him off or not? I'm trying to help you. I told you they were aggressive. You did not have permission to touch any of my rabbits. Off pops the rabbit, wild-eyed and panicked. Back into his carrier he goes. He now looks very smug. Entitled Mom. Ah! She's bleeding everywhere. I'm going to sue you. Your rabbit attacked me. Me. I told your stupid butt that they were aggressive. You had no right to touch any of my rabbits. There's a sign on his cage that says he bites. Can you not read? Friend on phone with police. Yes, I'd like to report an attempted theft and need someone here ASAP. Entitled Mom. Yes, get the cops here. Your rabbit assaulted me. You brought a rabid rabbit to a place where there are kids. It could have hurt my daughter. Me. Only if she had broken into my cages like you did. What kind of example are you setting for your kid? Entitled Mom. Forget you. At that point, the show secretary leads Entitled Mom and daughter off for some first aid, and I check over my rabbit. She had thrashed him around so hard that all 4 toenails on both hind feet had been broken off. According to Friend, the Entitled Mom refused to leave after I took my rabbits up to be judged, and had been grilling Friend about the rabbits and the prices. When another of our breeds was called up, Friend had started to bring those rabbits up. In about 20 seconds of being unobserved by one of us, Entitled Mom thought it would be a good idea to steal one of the small rabbits. Our neighbor had watched her open the cage and grab the rabbit. Fortunately, she picked one of the meanest ones we have, and being an uneducated fool, picked him up by grabbing him by the chest and back, right in bite range. The cops showed up and took our statement and then her statement. I showed them my rabbit and informed them I wanted to press charges for damaged property. Since rabbits qualify as livestock in my state, damage of property was all I could press for. Animal control was also called, and she was cited and charged with animal endangerment. Unfortunately, the wounded rabbit's toenails grew in white, so he can no longer be shown and his value dropped. She ended up paying me for the full cost of the rabbit and has a ban from all rabbit shows with the club that put that particular show on. She undoubtedly has a nasty scar to show off as well. Would you ever like to have a pet rabbit, or would you prefer something else? Please leave a comment letting me know. Next we've got, took a year, but I sued the unsuable. So, after a year-long battle, this finally came to a close. A little backstory. I bought a house about 5 years ago, and in 3 years, it flooded 3 times. It never flooded in the 40 years before. Thanks, climate change. Finally, after the 3rd flood, my wife and I were financially able to move out and sell the house for a loss. We search around and find our dream house, or so we thought. After living in the new house for about 6 months, we noticed something very peculiar. Whenever it would rain hard, the bathtub would backfill with sewage and the toilets wouldn't flush. So we called a plumber. The plumbers were awesome and told us that the sewer lines had broken between the house and the city sewer line, and while we could try and spot fix, we would probably need to replace the entire line. Ouch. Having just dumped a bunch of cash on a new house and taking a loss on the old house, we said to try and keep it as cheap as possible. They dug up where the line was broken. Broken is an understatement. The line had all but dissolved. We were going to have to replace the whole line, about $5,000. Not the best time, but okay, let's do it. Once they exposed the line the best they could, I got a call from the plumbers. The line has broken up so badly, they cannot find where the residential line ties into the city line, or tap. Now the homeowner is responsible for the residential line, but the city is responsible for the tap and the main line. I asked the plumber what is needed. He says we need to get the city plans and dig to uncover the tap. More digging equals more money. At this point, it's been 2 weeks, and I just want to use my own bathroom and take a shower. Okay, dig the hole. They dig a 4x4x10 hole and find nothing. We double-check the city's plans, and they are right on where the plans say the tap is. Now we have to deal with the city. We call 311 as directed, and after sitting on hold for 3 hours, a city official sends us the same plans with the location where we dug. We call back and say we already dug there and there is no tap. Getting nowhere with the city, my wife finally goes down to City Hall, and after spending a vacation day hanging around waiting for someone, she finally gets in to meet with an official. Let's call him Richard. Richard prints off the same plans we have already been given and says we need to dig where it's marked. My wife takes out her phone and says, "Look, it's not there." At this point, he mutters to himself and takes out a pen and draws on the plans, marking the actual location. It shows the residential line dog-legging from the original drawings and is about 10 feet west of the initial location. It was apparent that he doesn't want to waste his valuable, cushy government job time on my wife. It was pretty obvious he just made something up to get her out of his office. Plumbers come out, dig a second 4x4x10 hole, read more money, and surprise, surprise, the tap isn't there either. Fun. Back to City Hall and another vacation day wasted waiting for Richard. At this point, we don't want another hand-drawn map. Someone from the city needs to come out and mark where this tap is. They come out, and I burn a vacation day to wait around for them. To their credit, they got down in the sewer, did some digging around, and mark a new spot between the two big holes. Finally, a real location. Plumbers come out and dig a third hole, and if you think they actually found the tap, then you would be mistaken. At this point, the entire backyard is destroyed. Piles of dirt everywhere. The lawn is dead, the trees are dead, it's ruined. Our beautiful new house's backyard is literally crap. Back down to Richard's office. Another vacation day burned, and we are livid. We remain calm, but insist that we must have not been tied into the city's main line. There was no tap. Now you might be thinking, how did we not know? 6 months of sewage just piled up in your backyard? In the backyard, there is a large dirt mound that has been turned into a nicely landscaped forest. Lots of room to absorb the sewage that only 2 people would produce. But if it rained hard, the dirt was saturated and would backfill the bathtub and the toilets wouldn't flush. Richard doesn't accept responsibility, but does send out the contractor who did all the work for taps in my area. The contractor comes out, and I get the full second story. 2 years prior, while the previous owner was doing improvements and not living in the house, the main line of sewer was replaced. Basically, they slide the new tubing into the old tubing underground and then go in and install new taps for each house. Since no one was living in the house, they couldn't get into the backyard and told the city they did not service our house. I am furious. It's been 3 months, over $20,000, and all the wasted time and vacation just because Richard was too lazy to do his job and make one call to the contractor to sort it out. Now, remember how my first house flooded 3 times? I learned my lesson dealing with people, and once we knew we had to talk to the city, we recorded everything. Every phone call, every email. I videoed the contractor and his explanation. Everything, and all obtained legally. In my state, you have to have both people's consent to be recorded. He installs a tap, and I take the first shower at my house in 3 months. I am ready to act. I go down once again to Richard's office. I show him everything and want to file a claim. I agree to cover the cost of the residential line, as that is my responsibility. However, I want the city to reimburse the costs to dig the unnecessary holes. I think I have a good case. Pursuant to our city, we had to file a claim before starting any work and provide 3 estimates in writing to file a claim. Since none of that was done and could not be done after the fact, Richard denied the claim right there. Left without words, I walk away completely defeated. I perk up on the way home after calling my wife and being reminded that I have some lawyer friends. Surely one of them could help or know someone who can. Unbeknownst to me, my state has something called sovereign immunity. Basically, you can try and sue the city or state, but it will be thrown out immediately, and Richard knows this. No credible lawyer will help me pursue this case because they know I would just be wasting my money. I am pretty much out of luck. After months of calling around to try and find someone to help, I have resigned myself to defeat. Almost a year goes by. The loans I took out are about to start coming due, and I have no idea how I am going to pay for it. All communication with Richard and his office is blocked. I have also tried his boss and crickets. I tried going back down there, but Richard refused to meet with me. I finally reach out to my council member in a last-ditch effort. I include a synopsis along with all the evidence I have. I didn't expect much. 1 hour after hitting send, my phone rings. It is my council member, and she is livid about how we were treated. She has a meeting scheduled with the head of public works for later that week. She doesn't promise anything, but says she is going to fight for me until they kick her out of the building. After the meeting, she calls me on her way back to the office. The head of public works has accepted full responsibility. She wants receipts for everything. The plumber, pay stub showing the vacation we took, phone logs from the time we spent on hold, the quote from the landscaper to fix the backyard, all of it. She has them all in her inbox by the time she makes it back to the office. That was about 3 weeks ago. Yesterday, I met with my council member at her office. Me, thank you so much. My wife and I cannot repay you for all you have done. Her, it was my pleasure. We chit-chat for a bit. Her, here is a check for what you are owed. Me, this is so great. We can pay off the loan and finally get someone to fix our yard. Wait, this is much more than we need. Her, You forgot to include emotional distress. I added it in for you. Wink. Oh, and if you ever have any issues, you won't have to worry about dealing with Richard. He no longer works there. Just come to me. I have become good friends with the head of public works. Me. Oh my God. You are literally the best person I know. If there is anything I can do. Her. Elections are in the fall. Maybe you could turn out and vote. So I went home, paid off everything, and the landscapers are coming out next week. Oh, and I am volunteering on her re-election campaign. Thanks for reading. Next we've got Karen demands I switch seats with her. I used to fly a lot for work, living out of a suitcase 35 or so weeks a year. It was exhausting, but I met a ton of great people. This story is about one who wasn't. A lot of people think the big benefits of flying a lot is the miles, and miles are great, but when you fly often enough, the real benefit is the status program. The airline I flew most often had a program where they would give you free upgrades to first class. The airline would sell as many first class seats as they could, and if there were any unsold, would give them away to the most frequent flyers. Often I'd get the upgrade a day or two in advance, but sometimes I would be on standby for the upgrade, especially for US cross-country flights, and have to wait until shortly before boarding. So I'd have a coach seat, and if something opened up, they'd call me shortly before boarding and upgrade me, which is what happened this time. The gate agent called me up with a smile and says, "Good news, OP. Looks like we can upgrade you." We had a pleasant conversation. I thanked her and took my seat. Unbeknownst to me, we weren't the only two people paying attention to that exchange. Boarding begins, and I settle into my window seat. Nobody sits next to me, and with first-class boarding seat, that probably means nobody is sitting there. Perfect. I can spread out a bit while I work. About 10 minutes go by when a woman with her kid in tow stops by me. She says, "Excuse me," and gestures at the folder I had put on the aisle seat next to me. I apologize and pick up my folder, and as her son sits down, she says, "You need to change seats with me." Poor manners, but whatever. Switching seats on a plane happens all the time. I figure she and her kid were separated for whatever reason. It happens a lot with upgrades, and obviously want to sit together. No problem. Me. "Oh, okay. Where's your seat?" She hands me her boarding pass, 26F or something. Assuming she had gotten upgraded, but handed me the wrong boarding pass, I said, "This is your coach seat. Where are you sitting up here?" "There," she says, pointing to my seat. Me. "No, I mean, what is your assigned first class seat?" Her. "I am going to sit with my son." Me. "No problem. What is your first class seat and I'll move." Entitled Mom. "Look, there was a mistake in upgrades. We have these seats." I start to talk again and she snaps. "Why are you being such a jerk?" This gets the attention of the flight attendants. I didn't know if Reddit has a flight attendant horror story subreddit, but it should, precisely for people like this. The flight attendant comes over. Flight attendant. "Is there a problem?" "Yes, he won't change seats with me." "Sir?" she says with a puzzled look on her face. "I will, but I'd rather not sit in 26F after I've already been upgraded." Flight attendant. "Okay, can I see everyone's boarding passes?" Mine reads 5A, hers 26F, and her son's 26E. Flight attendant. "Ma'am, you and your son are in row 26. This is a long flight, and we've been up for 2 hours already. You guys give away these seats. You should give them to us. Those seats aren't big enough for normal people." I resisted the urge to ask what basis she had for considering herself normal, and noticed that a line had formed in the aisle because nobody could squeeze by her to get their seats. Flight attendant. "Ma'am, I'm sorry, but you'll need to sit in your assigned seats." "No, we want an upgrade. I fly with you every year." Flight attendant. "And we appreciate your loyalty, ma'am, but we're boarding and we need everyone to take their assigned seats." At this point, some folks in the aisle began complaining and telling her to take her seat. Entitled Mom. "Look at him and how he's dressed." I was in jeans and a sweatshirt, my usual travel attire. "He doesn't belong here." Just then, a voice from the aisle shouted, "You don't either, lady. Take your seat." The flight attendant fought a smile while I just burst out laughing, which only enraged Entitled Mom further. Somewhere during all of this, the other flight attendant called into the flight deck, and a flight deck officer emerged, squeezing by passengers. Entitled Mom. "We want our free upgrade." Officer to flight attendant. "What seems to be the problem?" Entitled Mom interrupts. He won't switch seats with me. Flight attendant. This passenger and her son won't sit in their assigned seats, 26E and 26F. Officer. Ma'am, you need to take your seats. Entitled mom. No, we want our free upgrade. Officer. Ma'am, if you want to reach the destination, you need to be in your seats right now, because interfering with a flight crew means the police get involved, and nobody wants that, do they? She yanks her son out of the seat and storms back, to applause from the rest of the passengers. The guy sitting on the other side of the aisle turns to flight attendant and officer and says, "Whatever they pay you guys, it isn't enough." The rest of the flight was quiet and uneventful. While I was off the plane long before her, we crossed paths at baggage claim. She called me a jerk under her breath, and in one of my less than proud moments, I turned to her kid and said, "Don't be like mommy." Would you have switched seats with Karen or just told her to buzz off? Please leave a comment letting me know. Next we've got Karen I worked with for months mistakes me for a waitress. We were in a musical together. I was backstage crew, she was an actress. I was the person who maneuvered the set for all the scene changes, made sure everyone had their props, painted the set, and did many other things. Long story short, I was pretty much everywhere and interacted on the set of that show to make sure the show ran smoothly. Closing night happens, the show is over, and the entire cast was going to a local restaurant to celebrate. I, of course, went too, and sat at a table with my backstage pals. One thing about doing tech in theater is that you have to wear all black for the shows, so that the audience doesn't see you at all. So we're all at this restaurant, and most of us have already eaten. We're all just talking now, and I'm standing next to a table talking with one of my friends, when I hear someone behind me say, "Excuse me?" I didn't know she was talking to me, and continued my conversation. She says it again, and rather aggressively taps my arm. I turn around, and before I can even say anything, she goes, "Can I get some more of these?" and gestures towards her empty plate. Confused, I go, what? "The wings. I want another plate of them." Now, I have spoken with this woman almost every day for months now. Put her props in place, moved the set for her scene, all that. I assumed she knew who I was. "Why are you asking me?" She goes, "Well, you work here, don't you?" I shake my head, but she doesn't believe me. "Well, you're dressed like you work here, and you were just standing at that table and taking their order. Clearly you work here." I apologize, tell her that I in fact do not work there, and that I'm a crew member for their show. Prompt her with some conversations we've had, and eventually she realizes that she is in the wrong. She apologizes and turns away, and that was the end of it. Bizarre. Entitled mom tries to take control of our fire truck so her brat can ride in it. Little background. I'm an EMT and a fire cadet at my city fire department. Basically, I just provide some small assistance on medical calls and observe for others, such as vehicular extrication, working fires, etc. Yesterday, I was on shift with our squad. For those who don't know, the squad is a truck that only carries tools for all sorts of emergencies. It responds to nearly all calls and has no pump for putting out fires, although some squads do have pumps. Anyway, our ladder truck was being sent to City Hall so some Boy Scouts could look at it. So I asked my officer if I could transfer while they were there. He said it was fine. Then asked the officer of the ladder truck if I could go, and he also said it would be all right. He also asked if I knew the parts of the aerial, and if I could guide a small group and give a little tour, and I said I do, and I'd be more than happy to. So later we drive over to City Hall, and like 15 or so scouts come outside to come see the truck. So I start showing them around, showing them the pump panels, the tools, etc. And then we get to the ladder controls. Our ladder truck is a Pierce aerial platform with a 95-foot ladder. As I was finishing talking about the controls, this woman, entitled mom, interrupts me, and the whole ordeal went as follows. Entitled mom, "Excuse me, my son would like to ride in the bucket." Me, "Sorry, but we can't prep the truck to raise the ladder currently, because while we're here, we still have to be prepared to leave if a call comes through." Entitled mom, "What do you mean prep the truck? All you have to do is make the ladder go up." Me, "There's a bit more to it than that. We'd have to start the engine, switch the power from drive to staged, pressurize the hydraulics, extend and lower the stabilizers, and fit everyone into a ladder belt." Entitled mom, "That all just sounds like a load of nonsense." Well, maybe to you, but honestly, it is a lot of work to raise the ladder, and I'm also not authorized to operate it. Well then, who is? Why are you even here if you can't use the truck? I'm an EMT and a fire cadet. I mostly just perform EMS tasks and observe fire scenes. It says my title on my jacket. Well, duh, I can read. After a while of her talking very loudly, the officer comes over and asks if there is anything going on. I start to explain before entitled mom starts yelling. Your stupid cadet here says my son can't ride in the bucket. Officer, well, he can't. And I heard him already explain to you why he can't. Entitled mom shrieks. I am your boss. I am a taxpayer. I drive a brand new Lincoln and I work for City Hall. You work to serve me. Officer, you are not my captain or our chief. You have no right to give us orders. I am going to speak to your head chief about this. What is his name? Officer, his name is on the city website under the Fire/EMS tab. Whatever, I'm going to have you all fired. We just brushed it off, and I continued giving my tour of the truck when I noticed she disappeared around the back. I asked the group to hold for a second while I popped around back to see her trying to use the remote control unit for the ladder. Obviously nothing was happening because the truck was turned off and the hydraulics weren't pressurized and the safety locks were on. Entitled mom, this fell out. I'm trying to put it back. I tried to take it from her and she held on to it tightly saying, No, I got it. You just go away. I don't need you to show me how to put a box back. I yelled for the officer and he came with both the firefighter and the engineer and they grabbed the control unit from her and she yelled we're all making a huge mistake, blah blah, and how all she wanted was to let her kid ride. And I could see her kid in the group looking very embarrassed, as now everyone was watching her make a fool of herself. The officer said, I think we're gonna have to just leave the tour at that and head back to the station. So the officer watched her as the engineer and firefighter put everything back and closed all the compartments before we then left. A few hours later, we all had a laugh about it over dinner. Also, officer doesn't mean police officer. The officer sits in the front right-hand side while the engineer sits on the left side and drives. Officer is in charge, engineer operates the truck systems, and the firefighter goes with the officer. Next we've got Karen claims to be owner's daughter. So a little backstory on where I work. It's a very small family business where we sell pools and pool chemicals. Only 2 desks in our office which can fully see into the showroom. 1 desk for the manager and 1 for me. Also, when I say small business, I mean it. Normally, it was always just me, assistant manager, and my mom. I had been in this business since I was born, therefore knew a lot for my age. However, we had just recently hired someone new that was a little older than me. I was 21 at the time, and my new coworker was 28. Now, on to the story. The cast will be Matt, coworker, me, Karen, idiot customer, and Karen's kid. So the manager, my mom, had to go and pick up some office supplies for us and mail off some bills, so it was just me and my coworker. We weren't very busy at the time since it was a weekday and fairly close to closing time, so I was sitting at my desk and he was at the manager's desk since he didn't have his own, on our phones waiting to hear the door open. We hear the door open and my coworker, we will just call Matt from here on out, starts to get up and I tell Matt that I've got this one, so he sits back down. I stand up and see this lady, Karen, and her kid come in and start walking around. I walk out into the showroom and welcome them to the store and ask if they need help finding anything. Karen, we are just looking right now. I will let you know if we have any questions. Karen's kid, I want a pool toy. Where's the pool toys at? Me, well, the pool toys are right over in the aisle by the door and on that wall there. I motioned to the wall where all the displays were. Karen, I told you that we didn't need any help right now. I just stepped back and walked into the office, not wanting any confrontations this close to closing. They continued looking around for another few minutes when I heard the kid hollering from the front of the store. I looked up, and the kid was climbing on our ladder samples, which clearly have neon green signs that are 8 by 11 that say, "Do not climb on." So I walked up to the front of the store and politely told the kid that he couldn't climb on them. Karen, You can't tell my son what to do. Karen's kid. I just want to climb on them. He then starts to cry. This kid was about 10. Me. I'm sorry, but it's against company policy to have anyone climbing on them for safety purposes. Well then, maybe you should have a sign on them that says you can't. I point at the sign that says you can't. Well, you should have made the sign bigger. I'm not the best at containing my frustration, and when I get frustrated at someone, my sarcasm comes out with absolutely zero filter. This kid had been running around our store screaming like a banshee, and I was getting very annoyed. Me, under my breath. Well, maybe try using your eyes next time. What did you say to me? I said to look for a sign next time you want to let your son climb all over displays in a store, and I walked away. She continues walking around with the kid still crying until she gets to one corner where we have some Legos for kids to play with while the parents wait to have their water tested or be helped. Mind you, the test lab was closed and the area roped off with all the lights shut off to that corner. Kid is screaming, I want to play with those Legos! Karen, all right, just go ahead. I wasn't even in the mood to say no, as long as it stopped him from crying. Then he starts carrying them out from the designated area and throwing them down the aisles at our toy displays. I had enough of these little jerks because I knew I was going to have to clean it up. I've been told that I'm pretty scary when I'm angry too. Me to Karen's kid. You are not allowed to take the Legos from the play area. Please put them back where you got them from. Karen. Who do you think you are talking to my son that way? Me. I am simply telling you both that what he has been doing is not allowed in our store, and he needs to stop. Well, how dare you talk to us that way? I'll have you know that I'm the owner's daughter, and I will have you fired for this. Mind you, the owners are my grandparents, and she sure as heck isn't my aunt. She walks up to the counter that looks into the office before I could say anything. Karen to Matt. Have you heard how your employee talks to me? He is the most rude employee I have ever seen in here. And as the owner's daughter, I demand that you fire him. Matt. Well, I can't do that. Why not? He is rude. I can't fire him because he's my boss. What? No, he isn't. You're lying to me. She's droning on and on. Now, we have an employee picture on the wall celebrating our business's 50th anniversary with everyone labeled in the picture, including the owners and all their kids. Karen finally shuts up and looks at me while I'm grabbing the picture frame off the wall. I slide it in front of her and point to my label. My name, assistant manager, with grandson underneath my name and title. Her face turned every shade of red under the sun. Me. So you mean to tell me you're a long-lost aunt of mine? Because if you're not, you can get the heck out of this store. She practically dragged her kid out of the store while trying to run out the doors. She kept pushing on our doors, trying to get out. They're pull doors. Nee, shouting to her, maybe try to pull the doors, you dummy. Next we've got entitled customer angry that I charged him for soda. I'm a bartender in a place that gets a lot of weekly regulars, and they are sort of like VIPs at our place, so they get special pricing/discounts on certain things. One of these things is that they pay less for a soda and get free refills for it. One guy, Dave, is hard for me to read, but never gives me any trouble. He always opens a tab, and when it's time to close out, he always asks me to do it for him. Our POS is on an iPad kind of device, so he'll have me enter the tip for him. He tells me how much to enter and to sign for him. He always tips about an average and appropriate amount, which I appreciate. Last week, for whatever reason, he told me whatever 20% is, double it. I was surprised, but thanked him profusely. After closing out, he ordered a soda. The guy never skips out on his tab, so when I told him how much it would be, he brushed me off and kept chatting with the other customers at the bar. This is not unusual. I wasn't worried, and I knew he'd pay me before leaving. Come time for him to leave, he says goodnight to me and says, "You were just kidding about the money, right?" I told him I was not kidding, wondering if he was joking. Nope. He starts making a big fuss about the fact that I'm charging him. I thought we got free sodas. I said, you get free refills, but the first one is at a discount for you guys. Then he continues making a fuss. That's the price with the discount? That's ridiculous. That's so much for a soda. I can't believe you're charging me for that. I'm leaving out a lot of fluff because he really just kept going on and on. I felt my face getting red. I'm not good with confrontation and didn't know what to say, so I said, I'm just doing my job. The part that bothered me most is what he said next. I can't believe this. I just tipped you 40%. I was really offended. For one thing, I never ask for tips, and I certainly don't ask for certain amounts. Nobody forced him to give me a 40% tip. Now he was making me feel bad about the tip he gave me, ranting at me for the prices which I don't have any control over, and berating me for literally doing my job. What really gets me is the way he said the last part. Was he insinuating that because he was such an amazing guy to give me such a big tip, that I should give him things for free? Or what? Use part of that tip to buy his soda? If it was such a big deal that he didn't spend any more money, why didn't he just tip less and use that for his soda? I'm telling this story because tonight is his regular night and I'm apprehensive. I know it's not the biggest deal in the world and he never did me any trouble before, but I do know he's a jerk. I just want to put that little incident behind me and not have him poke fun at me for what happened when I was just doing my job. To all of you telling me I should have just bought the drink and I should buy my regulars drinks sometimes, you're absolutely right, and I do indeed do this from time to time. I love my job, I love my customers, and I try my best to take care of them and let them know I genuinely enjoy seeing them and I'm not just interested in a tip. If I was really so bad in this scenario, then that really bothers me and there's unfortunately nothing I can do about it now. The reason I shared this is because I was upset and embarrassed, standing there for so long getting yelled at by somebody who I do my best to take care of every week. It's nice to treat your regulars, and I'm happy to do it. If he hadn't jumped right into a rant over it, then maybe I would have felt more inclined to treating him, but I don't think I should be bullied into doing it. What would you have done? Would you have paid for the customer's soda? If so, why or why not? Please leave a comment letting me know. Next we've got, security won't let me into my work despite seeing me enter often. Some quick backstory. My city's hockey team has a very nice facility that includes many concessions in the arena as well as a restaurant with a viewing area to overlook the game. Last year I worked as a dishwasher in the restaurant, but now I work as a cook in the concessions. This particular story happened last year on multiple occasions. Because I was a dishwasher, I often wasn't scheduled until an hour before we opened or right when we opened, as they didn't need dishwashers during pre-opening prep. And since we relied solely on hockey game attendees, we were only open on game days and opened an hour before the game was scheduled to start. This obviously means that by the time I would arrive, security was setting up at their ticket-taking areas. One of the ticket-taking areas in particular was where I needed to get through to reach the staff entrance to the kitchen. Some of the security and event staff recognized me and would just say hello as I walked through, but there were a few times that others would stop me and not let me go in. I can remember one of these conversations really well, but it is not word for word because it happened over a year ago. Security. Where are you going? Where's your ticket? Me. Oh, I don't have one. I work in the restaurant. At this point, I was already running a little late and just wanted to get inside and get to work because I didn't know how many dishes were waiting for me by now. Security. I need some ID to prove that. Of all the staff who work in the restaurant and concessions, the only people who have said ID, which by the way is a city-issued ID saying they are city employees, would be the higher-ups, so our head chef, the restaurant coordinator, front-of-house coordinator, etc. So obviously I would not have one. Me. I don't have ID. I'm a dishwasher. We're not important enough. Then I can't let you in. Me. Come on. You can literally pull anyone out of the restaurant right now. I motion over to the servers who are setting up for the night just inside the front entrance to the restaurant, all of whom know me well. And they will tell you that I work here. Seriously, I just have to get in so I can do my job. The security guard looked at me for a minute, then I guess decided it wasn't worth it and said, Fine, go, but bring some ID next time. Despite me saying that I don't have ID anyway, but whatever, I got inside so I didn't press it. Luckily, I now work in concessions, so I'm at work most of the time before security even shows up, so I don't run into this problem anymore. But a guy I work with in the concession had an interesting run-in with security just the other night as we were taking out the garbage at the end of our shift. Between all 6 total concession cooks, we have to gather up all the garbage produced by the concessions and wheel it out in 2 large bins. To get to the compactor though, we have to go through restricted access doors that only players and staff can enter. Everyone keeps their work uniforms on as we do this, except for myself. I normally change back into my street clothes by then. They just have a jacket or sweater over top because we have to go outside, and this is Canada in January. We had finished everything earlier than normal, so when we took the garbage out, security was still there. 6 of us, 2 giant garbage bins, and the security stops the one guy in our group and tells him he can't go back there. So he just says, "I work here," and keeps walking with us as the security guy shouts behind us, "Hey, you can't do that." We all had a good laugh at that later. Next we've got, actually, I'm the owner. Okay, so backstory. 1, I'm young, just turned 18, and me and my mother own this business where we breed and sell snakes and the snake necessities along with food. I'm the actual founder, while my mom is the co-founder. Story. I was tending the store since only me and my mom work there, and it was a slow day for us. So I was checking on all the animals, feeding the ones that needed to be fed, and so on. This one person, we will call them Entitled Parent, comes in and just is looking at all the animals. I thought nothing of it till about 5 minutes or so go by when they walk up to the counter and Entitled Parent snaps at me and gets my attention. I look up, slightly offended by how Entitled Parent decided to grab my attention. Me. Yes, may I help you? Yes, I was wondering how much this one is, while pointing at a tank. Me. I'm not sure. Let me check for you. I say that while walking to the tank. Well, it says here it's only $60. $60? Just a couple days ago, I saw this exact one for only $30. Me. No, I'm sorry. That one was sold already, and we changed it out. You can't just change the price because it's a different one, and it's still the same breed and everything? Me. Well, yes, while it is the same breed, it is much bigger, as the other one was younger than this. It cost us more to maintain this particular one than the rest. Entitled Parent sighs. Well, I don't have that much. Can you give me a discount? Me. I'm sorry, but I cannot do that for you. Please, I only have 50 on me. Well, I can't give you a discount, but we have some that are smaller than this one and are cheaper. They're in the back if you want me to bring you one out. No, I don't want another one. I want this one. Me. Well, I'm sorry, I can't lower the price for this one. Like I said a few seconds ago, we have more in the back if you want this particular breed. I don't want a different one. I would like this one. Me. Please don't yell at me. I don't care. I want to buy this animal. I'm sorry, I cannot help you. Let me speak to the manager. Well, I am the manager. Entitled Parent huffs. Fine, I'm gonna call the owner. Me. Actually, I am the owner also. Don't lie to me. You're not even old enough to own a car, nonetheless a store. Yes, I am old enough, and I'm the owner while my mom is the co-owner. Quit lying to me. I want to speak to the actual owner, and not some jerk teen. Please watch what you say, or I will have to ask you to leave. You can't kick me out. I know the real owner, and he lets me get a discount if I don't have enough all the time. Me. Well, that's good for you. Now, if you're not gonna buy this one and only cause a disturbance in my store, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. No, I'm not gonna leave. You are gonna give me a discount, and this is that. Now I'm mad, because Entitled Parent is yelling at me when I can't change the price, and making a scene over this, and just straight out ignoring me. So sell it to me now, or I will call the owner, and he will sell it to me. She then walks over to the counter, where there are cards with my name and number. Entitled Parent then dials the number and then answers the phone. At first I was confused because it states on the card that I'm the owner, but then I remembered it had my mom's number also on the card, and Entitled Parent actually called hers instead. Luckily, my mom told Entitled Parent to buzz off pretty much, and then Entitled Parent tried to call the other number instead. While Entitled Parent was dialing my number, Entitled Parent had this grin on while looking me dead in the eyes. I will never forget the look on her face when I answered the phone. Hello, this is the shop. OP speaking, how may I help you? Entitled Parent then hung up and left the store immediately. What I will never understand is why Entitled Parent got so upset about that animal. Crazy Karen tries to get behind the cash register. A little bit of backstory for this. I was 15 years old and very short, so I looked like I was 12 or 13. 15 is the legal age for people to work here as long as a parent lets them work there. I normally ran the cash register, and my manager was somewhat trusting of me to make sure that all the money was safe. This will be important later. The store has 4 cameras and 3 TVs, one towards the doorway, one at the counter, and one in the staff-only room. This will also be important. So on a calm day, we have a customer come in. She came in with 2 shy-looking kids. I had not recognized her, so I thought she was new. We have a pretty small town, so I know most of our customers. This lady went up and down the aisles. At the time, one of my friends was in the store. He came up to me and said this was the lady he was talking about. He said that she was going to be a pain to me, as she has to another coworker a few days back. I said that he shouldn't worry about it. So after about 20 minutes, she comes up to the counter. She starts giving me her items. So far, so good, I thought. She wasn't paying attention to me at the time. Then she looked up. Here is all of the cast. We have me. We have Crazy Lady. We've got Manager. We've got Friend. We've got Shy Kids 1 and 2. Here's how it went. Crazy Lady. What are you doing behind the counter, young man? Me. I work here, Miss Crazy Lady. Where are your parents? Friend. Mrs. He works here. He is 15 and is allowed to work here. Crazy Lady. You are both trying to get free stuff and steal the money they earn. Me. Can you please give me the rest of your groceries so you can leave and we can move on with our day? Shy Kid 1. Mom, come on. We need to get to the party. Crazy Lady. Shut up, Shy Kid. You don't know what's going on. I'm just sitting there watching as she screams. Friend. Ma'am, can you hurry up? I want to buy some donuts. You mean steal some donuts? My friend, whose father and mother were cops, was taken aback. Friend. Ma'am, I'm not trying to be mean, but now you are trying to make me dishonored toward my family's history. Get this filthy friend of yours out of here before I get an actual employee and get you arrested. Shy Kid 2. Mom, come on. You do this everywhere we go. To kids in the neighborhood. It's embarrassing, and you still haven't learned your lesson. Shy Kid 2 looked about 14, around the age of where I started thinking about getting a job here. Crazy Lady. I will show you both how right I am, and how you should both let Mom take care of this business. Me. Ma'am, I'm trying to be nice here, and that's it. I'm getting an employee. Crazy Lady starts hollering for someone else. A coworker peeks in, but I wave him off. Is he part of your plan too? She says, gawking. No, Mom! A voice yells out, and we both look at the kids. They turn red and start saying sorry. Then Crazy Lady comes over the counter and onto the workspace. She grabs me by my collar and starts screaming at me. I am scared and panicking because I have no clue what to do. Then the manager comes out. Crazy Lady seems relieved. You wouldn't believe what this dumb kid was doing, she said, smirking. I stopped him before he could rob you and take everything he could. Manager. Lady, why are you behind the counter? Don't lie, I saw you on the camera. She looked dumbfounded. You were out here? Manager. Yes, and I saw you assault one of my employees. I think that she was starting to put 2 and 2 together. Then she pulled out her ultimate weapon and said, Just because he's an employee, that doesn't mean he wouldn't take anything. It's not like you have a camera pointed over here and you can see him. Now I was working with this manager for around 6 months, so he knew that I hadn't been stealing money. This is why he trusted me with the register. Manager. He wouldn't steal a single cent, as he is too paranoid about what would happen. What if he was just using it as a disguise? Manager. Then he's pretty good at acting and should be on stage instead of here. I heard that the band doesn't care about your age as long as the person playing the instrument is good at it. Just when the authorities arrived. What is all of this for? She said nervously. Manager. Well, let's see here. Assault of employees, trespassing, shoplifting. She put a candy bar in her back pocket. And I think that's it. Well, nothing too big at least, right? Yeah, my manager was able to crack jokes at any situation. She was arrested and I didn't press charges. Crazy Lady was sentenced to 3 years and 7 years of community service. I do feel bad for the kids, as they seem to not be a jerk like their mother was. Next we've got, Karen made my summer's heck for 3 years. Context. This was the rural Midwest in the late 1990s. I worked 3 summers as a lifeguard at a lake. It was a membership-based sportsman's club, which is basically a rural country club. It had a stocked lake for fishing, a beach and swimming area, camping, archery, etc. Most of my best stories involve the same Karen/entitled mom. I have at least a dozen stories about this crazy lady, but I started with the first 3. But if people like them, I'm happy to tell the rest in later updates. This Karen/entitled mom was mid to late 30s and had 2 deplorable, horribly behaved sons that were roughly 10, Terror Kid 1, and 7, Terror Kid 2, my first year, and would have been 13 and 10 my last. Year 1, Week 1. I am on the lifeguard stand. Entitled mom comes to the bottom of the stairs. I am on duty, so as this conversation is happening, I am still mostly watching the 20 or so people in the water and occasionally looking directly at Entitled mom. Entitled mom. Hey, you. Me? Points at myself. What's up? Where are my kids? In a super snippy, impatient, entitled tone. Me. Sorry, ma'am. I don't know you. Which kids are yours? Why aren't you looking at me? Do you know how rude that is? I'm sorry, ma'am, but I'm working right now, and I need to keep an eye on everyone in the water. Entitled mom eye rolls. Whatever. My terrible kids, where are they? Since our kids were so terrible, I knew them by name, as I had been warned by other staff. Me. Oh, they left the beach during 2:45 p.m. break and haven't been in the water since. It was roughly 4:30 p.m. So, where are they now? Me. I don't know. As I just told you, they're not in the water or on the beach. What do you mean you don't know? You're supposed to be watching them. Kid 2 is only 7. Me. I'm not a babysitter, ma'am. I'm a lifeguard. Exactly. You're supposed to be watching them. Ma'am, I am doing my job. My job is to watch the water and make sure everyone's safe, not follow your kids around the club. I am a lifeguard, not a babysitter. So you just let 2 kids run off unsupervised in the club to who knows where? Me. Ma'am, I didn't let your kids do anything. They were swimming when I blew the whistle for break at 2:40. Everyone was out of the water, including your kids at 2:45 when I went up to the break room. When I came back at 3, they were not on the beach. It looks like their beach stuff is over there. I already checked there. Their toys and towels are there, but their shoes are gone. Me. Have you checked the playground? Usually they only seem to take off their shoes if they have to cross the gravel. They'd better be there. Someone could have taken my babies, and it would be all your fault. Me, thinking to myself, those kids are jerks. No one in the right mind would want them. Luckily, I knew better than to say that out loud, and went with, I'm sure it's going to be okay, ma'am. Go look over there, and if they're not there, I'll blow the whistle and get everyone out of the water and we'll all go look for them. Entitled mom leaves. About 10 minutes later, she returns with them in tow. They presumably were at the playground. She gathered up their stuff, and I blow the whistle. It's time for 4:45 break. I end up walking up the stairs towards the clubhouse right behind them, and she stops at the top of the stairs to yell at me. You were lucky this time, but you need to keep better track of the kids if you want to keep working here. Incident 2. Year 1, Month 2. Kid 1 went fishing that morning, and when the beach reopened after lunch break, Kid 1 found himself in possession of fish guts that he then brought to the beach and started throwing them at girls laying on the beach. Kid 1 is now maniacally throwing fish guts at them while laughing and yelling, "It's raining," as the girls are screaming and trying to run away. Me. Kid 1, what are you doing? Stop that, that's disgusting. Kid 1 throws fish guts at me while continuing to laugh. Shut up, I don't have to listen to you. Stop it right now, or I'm going to ban you for the rest of your life. Banning from the swimming area is the standard punishment for unruly conduct, but it usually only lasted for an hour or an afternoon. Kid 1 stops in shock, with his last hand full of fish guts in his hand, ready to be launched in my direction. You can't do that. No one gets banned forever. Me. Push your luck and let's find out. Me and Kid 1 have a stare down. Kid 1 drops the fish guts. Me. Now pick them up and put them in the trash. Or what? Well, you're already banned for the rest of the day today, but if you don't throw them away, I will ban you for the rest of the week. I wasn't even planning on swimming today anyways. I didn't even bring my trunks. Me. Fine. You're banned today and tomorrow. Now pick those up, or I'm going to add Saturday. That's not fair. I don't care. You can't throw fish guts at girls or at lifeguards. You're 10. You know better. Kid 1 continues whining, but actually complied and picked up and tossed all the fish parts before leaving the beach. On the next break, I tracked down the front desk admin that was the lifeguard manager to tell her the story, making sure to mention that one of the girls was the club president's daughter and that Kid 1 had talked back to me. The lifeguard sometimes had a hard time getting her to stand up for us, but she hated backtalk, and the president's daughter thing helped, so she assured me that my 2-day ban would stick. As anticipated, Entitled Mom later gave the desk admin an earful. I wasn't there for it, but based on the admin's retelling, the gist was some combo of boys acting crazy and how dare the beach force her to spend the next day with her son and instead of dropping him off at the beach because she had appointments. Year 1, roughly month 2. Context. About 40 feet into the swimming area from the beach, there was a rope that demarcated the shallow area. There was about 4.5 to 5 feet of water at the rope, and the shelf of the lake dropped off steeply about 10 feet past the rope, and the deep of the swimming area went up to like 60 to 75 feet. To go past the shallow end rope, kids had to pass a swim test for safety. Situation. It is after last swim. I am on closing, and I am dragging up the boards and floats to the shed. Entitled Mom. Hey, OP. Me. Hi, Miss Entitled Mom. How are you? Terrible. And it's all your fault. Me. What? What happened? You're discriminating against my little angel. I'm sorry, Miss Entitled Mom. I have no idea what you're talking about. I haven't seen your kid all day. Of course you didn't see him. After you were so mean to him and embarrassed him, he doesn't even want to show his face around here, and has been hiding at the campsite all afternoon. Me. I'm sorry your kid is having a rough day, but I don't have any idea why you're mad at me. I haven't even seen him. Yes, you did. You failed him at the swim test, even though he swam the full distance. But you told him you were failing him anyways because he's a bad kid, and it's his punishment for throwing fish. And I demand you apologize and pass him immediately. Me. Miss Entitled Mom, were you there when this allegedly happened? Or is this just what your kid told you? Are you calling my son a liar? He's a good kid and would never lie to his mummy. Me. Miss Entitled Mom, please don't put words in my mouth. All I know is that I did not do swim tests this morning. I worked the 12 to 8 shift, and as you may know, we do swim tests between 9 to 11, so I wasn't even here. But if you can hang on while I finish locking up this equipment, I can check the schedule and see who did swim tests this morning. Entitled Mom. I don't have time for this. Just go write down that Kid 1 passed and get him his wristband so he can go out to the rafts in the deep end with his friends. Me. Again, I'm sorry, but I can't do that. Unless one of the staff administers a swim test and he passes, we can't get him a wristband. It's for his own safety, but I'm happy to look into what happened this morning and get back to you. Entitled Mom. Eye roll stomps off. I went off and found the lifeguard who did swim tests this morning, and what a shocker. Entitled Kid had failed miserably. He didn't even make it a third of the required distance and only made it 20 seconds into the tread test, 90 seconds treading water without touching. If folks like this story, I'll tell you about the follow-up with Entitled Mom about this failure and more of her crazy antics. Next we've got Karen shouts at me after having a seizure at work. Backstory. I've always been a medical disaster from the day I was born, literally with heart problems and severely underweight up to today when I'm blind in one eye, have a speaking disability, and have recently been told that I have a high chance of being diagnosed with epilepsy from a severe head injury I had about 4 years ago. I was referred to a specialist a few weeks ago, but he didn't do anything, so currently working my way through the medical system to get it properly looked at. But haven't shown any signs or symptoms until recently in the form of partial seizures, which caused me to lose my balance, become extremely dizzy, feel very scared, see flashing lights, spasms in my legs, and doesn't allow me to respond to events happening around me properly. Chapter 1. The Meeting. So this took place in work not long after I had been told there's a high chance I have epilepsy. I had told one of my coworkers as a safeguard, just in case, but hadn't told any of the managers as I didn't want it to put my job in jeopardy, and I didn't feel comfortable with them knowing at the time. My coworker and I were working, and she was checking up on me every hour or so to make sure I was alright, and I was trying to stay in a good mood. After about 2:30 p.m., when the lunch rush had finished, work had quieted down and we had a small stream of customers come in, including our entitled mom, who we'll name Karen, as per usual. She came in with her husband and her 2 kids, a boy and a girl, who were lovely people. As they enter, I greet them, and they go to order their food at the counter. No biggie. They get it and sit down, and all is good. Chapter 2, The Incident. Not long after they had sat down, Karen points at me from across the restaurant, trying to flag me down and wave me over. I comply and go over to attend to them, asking what the problem is. Karen then goes on to say that she's missing several things from her order. As she's doing this, I get a feeling that something isn't right, and a couple seconds later, I realize that I'm about to have a seizure. I tell her I'll sort out the issue and quickly walk into the back to make sure no one sees. Once I get to the back, the symptoms kick in, and as I have predicted, I have a seizure. It was about 2 to 3 minutes with a minute of recovery and giving myself time to readjust and get myself straight before walking back out to do my job. As soon as I walk back out, Karen comes stomping up to me, red-faced. "Where the heck have you been? Where is our food?" Etc., etc., with a few insults thrown in for good measures. I apologize and tell her that I had some medical business to sort. "Well, it isn't more important than the customer," she replied with that typical jerk Karen tone. I, of course, am not in the mood to put up with this woman and take her receipt to the counter without saying a word, and after looking at it, realized that all the food was handed to her and nothing was actually missing. I walk back over and explain that nothing was missing, but she cuts in. "First you sky for 10 minutes, then you lie to a customer, and now you tell me that I'm wrong? Worst customer service ever." Me: "I'm sorry, ma'am, but I told you that I had some medical problems to sort out urgently." "You're probably just a lazy little jerk that's too dumb for a real job." At this point, her husband cuts in. Husband: "Karen, leave the man alone. If he says he had something medical to sort, then it's an urgent thing." He turned to me. "I'm so sorry. May I ask as what the medical problem was, if it's not too much?" Seeing the opportunity, I reply, "I was having a seizure." The husband then looks at me in surprise, and Karen's face has gone completely red. He's lying. If you did, you'd be in an ambulance." Me: "No, ma'am. There are different types of seizures, and the ones I have last about 3 minutes and aren't as serious as a fit, so I can get back to work straight after." Husband: "I'm very sorry to hear that. I hope it gets better for you, and I'm sorry for all the trouble caused." Me: "Thank you, sir, and enjoy your meal." I then walked away, Karen being talked to by her husband, who was pretty angry at her. Chapter 3, The Aftermath. About 20 minutes later, they were getting up to leave, making sure to clean up any mess that they had left, which was nice, and the husband came over to me while Karen got the kids ready. "I'm very sorry about that. She's like that sometimes. I really hope things get better for you, as again, I'm sorry." I told him that it's perfectly fine, and he isn't the one who should be apologizing, but trying to get a Karen to say sorry is like trying to get blood from a stone. They left with Karen hanging her head in shame after what I can only imagine were some words from her husband. I just hope that she learns her lesson and she treats more people with respect from now on. Thank you for reading. Next we've got Entitled Mom Screams Her Head Off, Mistaking Me for Being an Employee. Alright, so there is this computer store near my place that also does repairs, Xerox, and printouts. Basically, there are 3 computers which can be used by the customers to do their work. So I had to take a printout of me and my friend's projects, which we had to submit the very next day. My friend and I got to the store, and I connected the pen drive with our projects. Just then, this lady, entitled Mom, and her kid enter the store. They came and stood directly behind me watching. I thought they were waiting for us to finish, as all other computers were in use as well. My friend had a picture in his project missing, so we decided to copy-paste one from the internet. After I did that, turned to him and asked, "Is this okay?" And he nodded. I clicked the print button and the printer came to life. Suddenly, entitled Mom tapped me on the shoulder. I turned around. "Yes?" And the conversation went as follows. Entitled Mom handing me a paper. "I need this paper Xeroxed. Do it fast. I haven't got much time." Me: "Oh, Ma'am, I'm sorry, but I can't do that. You see,
What? This paper is really important. It's for my darling daughter over here, and it needs to be Xeroxed. So do it now.
Me. Ma'am, I don't even know how to operate that machine, and She cut me off again and started screaming.
What? You can't operate a simple machine? You're lying. Get your lazy butt to work and help my daughter. I saw you helping that kid.
She points at my friend, who I forgot to mention has a baby face.
Over there. So help my daughter.
My friend and I look at each other. Me, now annoyed. He's my friend, and I don't work here.
Liar. You lazy jerk.
By now, she had everyone's attention. The owner, who was all the way inside the store, kinda big store, came running over. Owner. I'm the owner. How can I help you, ma'am?
Well, you could start by firing this lazy employee. Disgusting.
Owner. Ma'am, with all due respect, he really doesn't work here. He's just a customer. Entitled Mom's face changed. It was amazing to watch. What happened next was even more amazing.
Well, I didn't know. You should dress better, young man.
The store doesn't have a specific uniform. What?
I need to get this Xeroxed.
Owner. Sorry, ma'am, but the Xerox machine isn't working. We will have it running by tomorrow. Entitled Mom lost it. She screamed and screeched and then hit the Xerox machine and threw a few boxes with computer tech in them. The owner kicked her out, but not before calling the cops and making her pay for all the damage. She's been banned from the store as well. These people, I swear. Next we've got ex-employee attempted to embarrass me. She's now unemployable. A few months ago, we let go of an employee that was just completely horrible at her job. We'll call her Sarah. After a couple months at my place of employment, Sarah just couldn't get the hang of the job. I gave her ample training and even had a seasoned person, we'll call her Becky, sit with her, essentially making sure she doesn't mess anything up. We finally got to the point where it's sink or swim time and she sank. Months go by without hearing from her and all is well. Until last week when I had to pick up my brother. My brother is on methadone and he goes to the clinic once a month to pick up his medicine. No big deal. I bring him down all the time. I sit outside and wait. He does his business and we go. I come into work that same day and Becky pulls me aside. Hey, I want you to see this before it becomes a rumor. It was a picture of me standing next to my very identifiable truck with a conversation that explains that Sarah has a business relationship with the clinic and how since I'm here, I must be a client. Becky, by all means, is no angel. She has her finger on the pulse of the drama at my work, so this isn't necessarily good news for me. While there's nothing to be ashamed of by seeking help, I would prefer it not be associated with me. Since Becky is a peer and not a subordinate, it wouldn't affect things too badly, but the fact that she loves to gossip and have people pay attention to her, I know it'll spread. The only people that matter will believe me. I'm not going to explain it to my subordinates and hope they believe me. I explain the basics of my visit and say the only thing I could to prevent Becky from spreading these rumors that she's claiming to want to stop, even though she's the only person still in contact with Sarah. Knowing Becky isn't the brightest, I quickly say it's a violation of HIPAA to spread healthcare information of a person or their family to anyone, let alone their workplace. I tell Becky I don't want to involve her because she only received the message and request her to screenshot the conversation and send it to me. With screenshots in hand, I go outside and call the clinic. Provided Sarah's full name and the screenshots, I mention my very limited knowledge of HIPAA and express how upset I am that someone that has any official connection to the clinic would take pictures of me, my vehicle, and send them to my workplace. Turns out that it was a violation of HIPAA as well as a violation of an even more stringent law that has to do with addiction treatment. It's been ran up to the powers that be. I've been told that her professional relationship with that clinic will end, and they would be willing to bet that she wouldn't be able to be involved in any aspect in her field. I'm still waiting for the curtains to drop on this whole show, but I'm satisfied with how it's wrapping up. The time I almost got detention at a school I don't go to. I graduated high school about 5 years ago, but still like to visit my old high school teachers as they were some of the best teachers I've ever had. This happened a year after I had graduated high school and already had a year of college out of state under my belt. For context, my old high school had a dress code. red card rule, where if you wore anything that conflicted with the written dress code, you were given a red paper card, marched down to the detention office, written up, asked to change, and given detention. I don't remember exactly what happened each time you got a card, as I never got written up, but I'm sure after a certain number of cards, you would get a suspension. One of the biggest rules in the dress code was skirt and shorts length. Shorts could not be any shorter than your fingertips when your arms were extended straight down at your sides, which was fine for the shorter girls, but heck for the taller girls with longer arms. My best friend at the time, I'll call her Chloe, was one of these taller girls and struggled to find shorts and skirts that she could wear that weren't knee length, as her arms were pretty long. Once, Chloe wore a skirt to school that finally reached past her fingertips, and she was feeling pretty confident in it. However, she was walking down the stairs and it rolled up a little, just an inch, and we were immediately met with a shriek from the office lady. I'll call her Karen, and Chloe got red carded despite it being an okay length. We were always a little bitter about that, and the fact that the popular girls never got red carded for the clothes they wore that broke the code, but the quieter, more nerdy girls got called out every time. Fast forward to the story. I had snuck into my old high school during the school's lunch period to go visit my all-time favorite teacher. My school had little to no security back then, and old students would often just walk in all the time to visit teachers without checking in as a visitor at the front office. It was almost summer break. My college got out earlier than my old high school, so I was wearing short shorts and a t-shirt. Nothing inappropriate to be out in public in, but wouldn't pass for the dress code, unless I pulled them down and wore them like 90s hip pants. I was walking down the stairs, the same stairs where Chloe had gotten carded, to leave, when I heard a, "Hey you!" shrieked across the stairwell. It was Karen. The following conversation went something like this. Karen:
"Young lady, what are you wearing?"
Me, ignoring her as I didn't think she was talking to me. Karen comes up to me.
"Young lady, I asked you, what do you think you're wearing?"
Me, shorts?
"I can see that. Those shorts are way too short. You are breaking the dress code."
It was at this moment that I realized I had made a big mistake. For some reason, I thought I had aged enough in a year of college to not be mistaken for a high schooler, despite the fact that there were seniors at the school who were also my age. I looked at her, bewildered, but also amused because this was going to be interesting if she tried to give me detention. It was probably here that I should have told her that I didn't go there, but I guess I didn't want to get in trouble for not signing in as a visitor at the front desk, so I just went along with it. Nee, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize they were this short. I rode my bike today, so they rode up a little. Karen:
"All right, hun. It's the first hot week this year, so I guess I'll just give you a warning. But you need to wear more appropriate shorts to school tomorrow, or you will get a red card and detention. Now, get to class."
Me, smiling. Okay, I will. Thank you. I, of course, did not go to class, but just jumped on my bike and rode home, with a bewildered look from one of the other staff who stayed outside during passing periods to make sure students didn't leave. Security has really been upped at that school over the last few years, so now when I visit, I have a big visitor sticker, along with a sticker of my photocopied driver's license, so I can't be mistaken for a student. But I always wonder what would have gone down had Karen decided to not randomly be forgiving and had taken me straight to detention like she usually did, and me having to explain that I did not in fact go there, and it would be hard to give detention to a non-standard student who was not in the school's files. Would you ever visit your old high school, or do you try to stay as far away from it as possible? Please leave a comment letting me know. Next we've got Angry Old Man versus Corporate Policy. We've all had those customers that start getting really upset over basic rules that come from way up the corporate chain, and last week we had a doozy. I work in the tire center of a large warehouse retailer, so we don't get fancy. We have lots of rules to follow, and there's very little wiggle room there. One of the big rules we are strictly required to follow is regarding purchases of only 2 tires. For safety's sake, we have to always install new tires to the rear of the vehicle if only 2 are purchased. We will rotate the existing rear tires to the front for free as part of that. This is to help avoid a spin-out in the event of traction loss. A lot of old school people hate this rule. It used to be accepted wisdom that new tires were better on the front, and especially with a front-wheel drive vehicle. Many older people want their new tires on the front to even out the wear. Regardless, we won't do it. Cue angry old man walking in. He ordered 2 tires a few days prior and was bringing his vehicle in to have them installed. We go through our usual sign-in process, get to the step where he has to sign the invoice to approve the work, and he loses his mind over seeing that we've signed him up for a rotation in addition to installing 2 tires. He swears up and down that no one told him that it's his right to get tires installed however he pleases, that he's a paying customer, blah blah blah, the usual. I supervise at work occasionally, but thankfully wasn't that day. So while angry old man is yelling at my poor coworker who happened to be signing him in, I run and get the supervisor on duty. Supervisor starts trying to calmly explain that this is corporate policy and for his safety, but he's not having it. He demands to speak to the manager. Of course, unluckily for him, our manager was in that day, and he always follows policy. Angry old man is not happy. He wants to talk to my manager's manager. We try to explain that the store manager doesn't know anything about tires and won't overrule corporate policy, but angry old man doesn't care. So the store manager comes down, talks to the guy to see what's going on, and immediately asks my manager what we're supposed to do, because as we explained, he runs the store. He doesn't install tires. This really sets off angry old man. Now he's ranting about how we're all incompetent, and he wants to talk to one of these corporate people that are setting the unreasonable policy. During all of this, I've been busy signing up multiple other customers, doing price quotes, selling car batteries, etc. As my supervisor goes to get our regional manager on the phone, the guy who sets corporate policy, I'm signing up a guy for new tires on his Tesla. Tesla guy has been patiently waiting in line while I tried to deal with everyone ahead of him, and while the rest of my coworkers try to placate angry old man. Tesla guy finally snaps. He scolds angry old man for giving us a hard time when we're just doing our jobs, following the rules, and are actually just trying to keep him safe. Angry old man just scoffs and tells Tesla guy to mind his own business and buy his tires, but Tesla guy isn't having it. While I run to get his tires, I can hear Tesla guy laying into angry old man about how he should be ashamed, how everyone could have been done and on their way if he wasn't wasting time, and how incredibly rude he's been. Angry old man is left sputtering, and my supervisor comes back with our regional manager on the phone. Angry old man talks to regional for about 30 seconds before angrily hanging up, signing the paper, and walking out the back door without another word. A little while later, when angry old man picks up his car, I do happen to be the one who gets to deal with him directly, and he snaps at me about how he's going to cut up his membership card, how we've lost a valuable customer, and that my store can take our policy and shove it. Next we've got teacher yells at me for not being able to see. We've got entitled teacher, and we've got me. So, a little backstory. I lost my glasses and I sit in the back of the class. Most teachers seem to understand that I cannot see the board from where I'm sitting at and read the question aloud to me or ask me to stand by the board to read the question, a seemingly simple task. I've always struggled with math, and so most math teachers don't really like me all that much. I was sitting in class. I was a bit tired since it was first period and I didn't get sleep the night before, so I laid my head on my hand, but it was quite obvious that I was looking at the board. Later into class, I took out my notebook and started writing notes, and halfway through she stops talking and looks at me. The conversation goes as follows. Entitled teacher. OP, are you paying attention? Me. Yeah, I am. No, you're not. Stop drawing on your desk and follow up with me. I'm not drawing on my desk. I'm writing notes so I can study with them later. And then I raise up my notebook in the air and turn it around to show her both sides. Teacher. You don't even have your book on your desk. Didn't you hear me when I told you to open it onto the right page? It's literally right there. It was smack dab in the middle of my desk, so I pointed at it. Just pay more attention. I didn't respond, and she goes on to finish explaining, and I finish writing my notes. After she finishes explaining a section, she puts a question on the board and begins asking someone to answer it. I couldn't see, and I didn't really want to answer it, so I kept my hand down. But, like you'd expect, she picked me. Entitled teacher. OP, can you answer this for us? Me. Not exactly. I can't see the question.
You can't answer the question, can you? Get up right now.
I would answer it if you could read it out for me, or at least let me go read it.
Go stand by the door. I'm calling your parents after this.
Okay. I stood up, pushed my chair in, and stood by the door. Entitled teacher.
Really?
Me. What?
Go to the principal's office.
All right. What do you want me to tell him?
Go!
Yes, I understand. But what would you like me to tell him? Why was I sent in?
Tell him that you're sleepy and you want to go wash your face.
I don't think I need his permission to do so. I need yours.
Well, I want you to ask him.
Sure. I left out and made it to the office. Me. Mr. Principal? Principal. Oh, hello, OP. How are you? Pretty good. Thanks for asking. So, Mrs. Entitled Teacher wanted me to ask you for your permission to wash my face. Why does she want you to wash your face? I proceeded to explain the story to him. Principal. Just go back to class and tell her to read the question out for you, OP. And so I thanked him for his time and headed back to class. Entitled Teacher.
Did you wash your face?
No, but I can answer the question for you if you let me read it.
This is ridiculous. Did you even go to the principal's office?
I did. He asked me to go back to class and request you read it to me.
I doubt that. Did you get a slip by him saying that?
Me. He doesn't hand out slips.
Then come with me.
She calls in a replacement teacher to watch over the class and takes me up to the principal's office. Entitled Teacher.
Excuse me, Mr. Principal?
Principal. Yes, Entitled Teacher?
OP said they came to your office, and you said that I was in the wrong?
Principal. What? No.
I knew you were lying to me. Call OP's parents, please.
Me. I did not tell you that he insinuated that you were in the wrong. I told you that he asked me to request you read it out to me. Entitled Teacher.
So he would basically be saying I was wrong.
Principal. In that case, that's exactly what I said.
Oh? How come?
Principal. They couldn't see, Entitled Teacher.
I thought they were just bluffing.
Get back to class, OP. Entitled Teacher trailed behind me. Principal. No, Entitled Teacher, could you stay to talk for a moment? I just smiled at her and walked away. She came back in a bad mood and just said,
Sit in the front, now.
But a few seconds after she said that, the bell rang, so I just grabbed my bag and left. Who do you think was right, the student or the teacher? Please leave a comment letting me know. Next we've got, I am the owner and you are no longer welcome here. First of all, this is not my story, but my friend Debbie's. This also happened about 15 years ago, so details may be a bit hazy. Debbie worked the front counter at a local bakery, whose specialty was what they called football cakes. It was a basic chocolate cake with the logos of the two teams drawn in icing on it. They made these for the local high school games and some college and pro games. Since the Super Bowl is today, that's what reminded me of this. Debbie worked the front counter while the owner and his kids worked in the back, baking, decorating, etc. The only caveat was you had to order these cakes at least one day in advance, though longer was better. The fridge in the back would get full, so they would put them in the display case up front with a sign that said, "Reserved, not for sale." One day, a lady came in and asked for a cake for the Iowa Hawkeyes Minnesota Golden Gophers game later that day, I think about 2 hours until kickoff. Debbie asked her what name she had reserved it under, and the lady said no name, but she saw them in the display, and could she have one of those? Debbie explained that those were all reserved, and unless she had reserved one, she couldn't have one. The lady blew up and said she needed one right now, and she knew the owner, and unless Debbie sold her one, the lady would get her in trouble, maybe even fired. The owner heard all of this and came up front and asked what was going on. The lady said that Debbie was being unhelpful and wouldn't sell her the cake. The owner asked if she had one reserved, and when she said no, he said, "I'm sorry, but we need at least a day reservation to make it." The lady again didn't like it and began yelling at him, saying that she knew the owner and would have all their jobs. The owner gave Debbie a subtle wink as if saying, "I got this, just play along," and then said, "You know the old guy who owns this place? When you see him, tell him he's a complete idiot." Debbie said it took every ounce of self-control she had to not bust out laughing at that point. The lady said,
I'm sure he doesn't want to hear that. And if you sell me the cake I want, I won't tell him.
The owner said, "Tell him all you want, but you're not getting that particular cake. If you want another one, I'm sure we can find something else for you." The lady said,
No, I want a football cake. If I don't get one, I will tell the owner about you two and have you both fired.
The owner finally gave up on his ruse and said, "I am the owner. I've never seen you before, and with luck, I'll never see you again. Please leave my establishment." At this, Debbie lost what control she had and burst out laughing. When the lady turned to look at her, Debbie nodded vigorously, as if to say, "Yeah, he is the owner." The lady then turned bright red and bolted out the door, never to come back. I miss that bakery. I used to get all my birthday cakes there, and when we went to go pick it up, the owner would come up front with a spoonful of whatever frosting he was making at the time for me, and tell my parents to reserve me the upper left corner piece because he had put a treat in it, either a dollop of extra chocolate or a strawberry or something similar. When he retired, he gave the bakery to his kids, 2 sons and a daughter, and the quality went downhill as they substituted his ingredients with the cheapest substitutes they could find. When he passed a few years after that, it was said that he died after seeing how his kids had ruined his bakery. Next we've got, Karen claims I pushed her and writes fake online reviews for sympathy. Some background. I go to a clinic with a scanner that you use to sign in with what looks like a membership card at the front desk. No matter when you scan, your appointment time still stands. So even if someone signs in before you, your appointment time will remain exactly the same. This fine day, I go into the clinic and a woman was standing there rummaging/dumping her purse on the counter. She was standing about 4 feet from the scanner. I had no clue what she was doing, so I calmly walk up, scan my card, sit down, and wait for my appointment time. The second I scan, she looks at me with evil in her eyes and yells, "How rude!" Me, "I'm sorry, I didn't know what you were doing over there, but don't worry. No matter what time you sign in, your appointment won't change." Entitled lady,
I was looking for my card, and you just took my spot.
Me, "No, I didn't. Your appointment time is still the same." Entitled lady,
But I was looking for my card, and you shoved me out of the way.
By this time, there were witnesses in the waiting room telling her the same thing I was. Also, the doctor comes out to see what is going on. I'm just ignoring her yelling and sitting pretending to look on my phone. I gave an obligatory whatever and refused to engage with her further. The doctor then explains to her the same thing I did and several other people have told her. They also thankfully defend me against the shoving accusation. To my delight, my appointment was before her. The doctor apologized and even offered to escort me out the door. It's a small clinic with usually only one doc on staff, and the front desk lady was out to lunch. The entire appointment, I could hear her complain to everyone who came by. When she wasn't getting the sympathy she wanted, she called someone on the phone, and I could hear her through the walls, screaming to whoever about what an awful person I am, this clinic is, how no one cares, with fake tears in her eyes, blah blah. I then go online to write a review about how much I appreciate that specific clinic and doctor. The most recent review was from her. She announced her name across the waiting room because she was sure I had taken her appointment and wanted the doc to check. She's writing that I pushed her and basically everyone was mean to her and she doesn't understand how no one took her side. On the bright side, she's dumb enough to put her full name in every review she writes and her profile says her address. Now if I was a different person, I might be tempted to take advantage of that info, but I just take pleasure in knowing karma will get her good someday. Or she'll upset someone enough that they'll do something really stupid. Anyways, thanks for listening and have a great night. So Karen, what did you think of today's stories?
They were horrible.
Horrible? How dare you? These were some of the best we've ever read.
Oh, shut up, Mr. Reddit. It's ridiculous what people like myself have to go through. Dealing with stupid people like yourself and your subscribers.
Look, Karen, you can say whatever you want about me, but don't you talk about my re-army.
Re-army. Most of your viewers aren't even subscribed to your channel. 70% if I'm correct.
Well, I can't argue with that. That's true. Most of my viewers don't actually subscribe for some reason.
It's because you're stupid, Mr. Reddit.
No, I'm not. Alright guys, let's prove Karen wrong by making sure you're subscribed to the channel and turn on notifications.
Pah, they're not going to listen to you.
And if you'd like me, or Karen,
What?
to record a special message for you, come visit me on Fiverr, link pinned in the comments below.
Never.
And join as a channel member today, and Karen will give you a special shout out in the next video.
Like heck I will.